Well, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And yes, finally, we made it into 2022. And guess what, folks? It still kind of sucks. COVID has apparently taken over the entire world. It is not going away. But you know what? We're here to talk about games. And my God, has there been some big news? We're going to be talking about. What our expectations are for 2022. We're going to be talking about the big three, what our most anticipated games are. And we are starting to now hear, folks, that the insider group, known as the ears to the floor when it comes to big gaming news, are now starting to agree and circle that some big Xbox news could come as early as and the end of January. And folks, we're talking acquisition. We don't know who it is, when it is, how big it is, how small it is, but apparently the season of acquisitions that never transpired for Microsoft last year outside of Bethesda may be coming back around in 2022. But let's introduce the panel. First, I have to say that Wandering Dutch is not going to be joining us this evening. He'll be back next Monday. He is battling an unbelievable migraine. And as someone who suffers from migraines on a constant basis, I understand that sometimes you just want to crawl in a hole. I don't want to say die, but you definitely want to get an ice pack on that head, go to sleep and forget that you exist. And we'll get him back next week. But we do have our first special guest of the year, and it's none other than someone that has exploded on the scene. Not only is he a riot to talk to, he does incredible motivational videos, but he is not only funny, his generosity has been nothing short of outstanding. Please welcome Crazy Lou Gaming. What's up, dude?
Oh man, Boom, I'm really happy to be here on the show. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what's going on today to talk about what's going to happen in 2022. We got lots of stuff going on. When you told me we were going to talk about, I was like, man, I got to write all this stuff down. And oh, I spent all day writing down, just writing down. I have like 70 games I want to talk about today. It's crazy.
Well, this is a
So,
nice 2 hour show. We only have two topics to get to, but
oh
they are
yeah,
meaty, and you're
yes.
definitely going to get your shot at giving us the lowdown of the big three. Because listen, folks, if 21 taught us anything, these game designers are becoming wizards. And
Yes.
even through the hardships of COVID-19 and the multiple variants that we are battling currently in every portion of this world, they are still finding a way to deliver powerful, thought provoking, game of the year experiences. And I don't necessarily think we talk about the development community as much as we should, considering. I know that it's real easy for us to complain and say, why didn't, game A do what game C did? And I'm disappointed. But folks, man, 2021 was an incredible year for gaming across all platforms. Now, listen, Sony did not deliver like they had in the past, but 2022 that's going to change, folks. If they bookend this year with Horizon Forbidden West and then close out the holiday with God of War, which they tweeted, by the way, and you get Gran Turismo in the middle, that's a pretty banger year, in my opinion. But again, we're going to get into it because if you missed, I dropped a new X Vlog video, episode 9. It was probably one of my favorites to do because, well, I talked about Banjo Kazooie for the last 10 minutes, and you know how I feel about that duo. And it appears that Microsoft is not only coming in hot, but they're coming in heavy handed with some incredible first party helpings, but with a side of second and third party console exclusives and some surprises. So I think that the same Microsoft that dominated the conversation in 21 might just be doing the round robin once again, but we'll get into that. Let's introduce the rest of the panel. I don't know if he's back. Tempest Sun, are you here, my friend?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Listen, brother, welcome back. I know you've been under the weather, but it is so great to have you back on the panel. We missed you, bro. How the heck are you?
I'm hanging in there, man. Just doing what I can, getting some gaming in. Good to be back on the show again. It's been far too long, and looking forward to the topics. Looking forward to get to spend another evening with you gentlemen.
Well, it's great to have you here, brother, and we are glad that you are at least feeling a little bit better and you got some gaming in. No, this gentleman is no stranger. I have been privy to some of the new things happening for his YouTube channel. I'm proud to say that I love everything, and I can't wait for him to share it with the world. Kay Asante, welcome back, brother.
Yes. Happy New Year to everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of the podcasting world. I've enjoyed some time off while we're tinkering in the lab, as it were.
I missed it, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
No, I actually genuinely missed it. I got little ones, man. My daughter's birthday is on New Year's Eve, so there was just no rest for people like me. It is what it is. So I'm actually this is me relaxing, coming to hang out here, chat with the brothers, and just going over games and whatnot. Crazy Lou Gaming, I appreciate you being here, sir. I follow you heavily on these Twitter streets. I see the positivity you bring, so I appreciate you being here and gracing us with your presence. And of course, my boys, it's another year. We're gonna do it big, so I'm ready to get into it. This is great.
Well, we're glad to have you, but nothing says "What's up, man? I love you" than when Crazy Lou, I send him a gif of a Santa Claus shaking his ass, and then he then follows that with him actually shaking his ass in his own gift. Unbelievable stuff. Right. Only true friends could appreciate such things. But Everborn Saga, what's going on, dude? How are you? I know you're having dinner because you're Russian, but listen, we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking 2022. And the truth of the matter is this: is there any bigger game than Sonic Frontiers? The answer is
absolutely not. Now, fun fact:
even bigger than Breath of the Wild 2?
Oh, well, hold on. You think that's?
I knew
you think that's coming out this year?
Oh hell no! You think Sonic Frontiers coming out this year? Psh, get out of here.
You think God of War is coming out this year? We can do this all day.
We're gonna get into it.
We're gonna get into it. We're definitely getting into it.
Now, fun fact. I just want to see the look on everyone's face when they realize 2022 is pronounced 2022.
Think
about
interesting.
That. We don't want another one of those.
Part 2.
We definitely don't want to. We definitely don't want
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Mag knows that one.
Oh yeah.
No. I'm 2022 Electric Boogaloo. Okay, but I'm very excited, and it's not just Sonic. I think we're going to have a great year of games, and I know we're going to get into it. But we got Elden Ring, we got Horizon. I think there's no chance we're getting God of War or Breath of the Wild until we get a new Switch. And Nintendo's not done milking us out of the Switch Pro yet. So I think the game Breath of the Wild is done, but they're just holding off so that they can sell it to us with a new console, and they can sell more copies of the game than the console and have another 30 million seller.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I'm going to say this: as much as I'm excited to learn what happens after Breath of the Wild 1, I can't wait to start cooking again, because I spent an obscene amount of time cooking in Breath of the Wild. I thought it was relaxing. I quite enjoyed myself, and was a pretty damn good virtual chef, if I do say so myself. But speaking of chefs, speaking of someone that knows the Sony generation very well, because of course he's one of them. The Mag, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Well, I was silent for a couple of weeks, but I'm not going to be silent much longer. And you know what, Boom? You said it earlier. You're saying, we took a week off and you kind of missed it. And it's funny because last week, I think it was Friday night, Mooch gets a hold of me out of nowhere. And he's just like, hey, you want to come on Crossfire tonight? And I'm like, you know what? Yes, I do. And I yelled at him for an hour straight. Anyways, I was relentless. But anyways, we are back here with our PTG brothers. We got Crazy Lou here. We got the chat is already on fire here. We got some great things to talk about. I am super excited. And I got to tell you, with all the negativity that sometimes comes out of this boosh, let me tell you something. I am super excited for 2022. Yeah. I am giddy like a school kid. And I mean, it all helps that I'm a multi-console owner, whatever else, right? Indeed. So that's a big thing, right?
And of course, we also have the privilege of being able to purchase these games and whatever else. I'm looking forward to 2022, and I can't wait to talk about it. Let's have a great show.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised. I'll say this right out of the gate. Supporting multiple consoles isn't a lock for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. Usually, it's a financial hardship because gaming is expensive. I am going to say that Xbox Game Pass continues to dominate the conversation because they continue to offer offer a value unlike anything in gaming, and they're constantly loading it. I mean, one of the biggest ones that they just had, Mortal Kombat 11, jumps in there. And I mean, it's just banger after banger after banger jumping in there, and people's backlogs are getting bigger and bigger. But 2022 is going to be a monster year. Now we could see mass delays like we did in 20 going into 21. We could see some of those delays that were like God of War, like Horizon. We could see some of those delays come for many games. Elden Ring has a locked in date. I'm looking forward to that, even though I don't think I'm going to be very good at it because it's very Souls like. I'm going to give it the old college effort. I'm looking forward to Horizon Forbidden West. I know there's been a lot of talk about downgrades and such. I think the game is going to be what you would expect from a Sony first party AAA banger. And like I said, we had some new information pop out from Undead Labs, where they tweeted that 2022 was going to be a big year for zombies. That basically implied that Part 3 could be releasing. At least that's how I took it. And we know that they're currently working on this. It is a AAA release. It is using the Unreal Engine 5. And we are going to talk more about their new studio in Orlando, Florida on tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast.
Orlando, you say?
Orlando, Florida. Yes, it's a support studio that's going to be kind of doing all the big graphics for them. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But you know what? I want to open up the show to Crazy Lou. Now, Lou, we would when I sent you the topics again, they're bullet points. They're simplistic in nature, but I think that it does have a significant amount of oomph to it, if you will. And the first topic is going to be, folks, is we're going to be talking about our personal most anticipated games for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, respectively. How would you attack this, Crazy Lou?
Wow, there's so many great games coming out this year. I mean, when I sat down, I was like, let me check how many games are coming this year. I mean, I read from, I think it was a website called Polygon. They mentioned 50 of the most anticipated games. And out of that list, there was like 10 of them I'm going crazy about. One of them is Dying Light 2. I'm a big fan of Dying Light series. I mean, I beat the first one and I did everything on the map. I mean, I did all the side quests, all that stuff. For me, it's an awesome game. Beautiful game. Nicely designed. I like how the person is really agile, climbs up and does all this stuff. And I can't wait to play the second one. It's coming out this February, right? It's coming this February. Mm-hmm. Also another game I want to play is wow. Ooh. Oh man, I forgot. Wait. Let me get back. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is another game I can't wait to play because I'm a big fan of the Dark Souls series. I'm a big fan of Sekiro. I'm a big fan of all those games, and I can't wait for that Elden Ring. I mean, I've watched the gameplay. I watched everything. The game looks beautiful. It's going to be awesome. And the last game, how many can we choose? Can we choose 3 or can we?
I mean, give us your top 5 if you want.
Okay, top 5. Okay. Oh, A Plague's Tale. Oh, I just beat the first one.
It's a masterpiece. It's a hidden gem that a lot of people don't know about, and that's coming into Game Pass day and date.
Yes. It coming in Game Pass Day 1, yes. And I saw that. I played the game this weekend because Sarah Blow and Joanna Duck were telling me, play the game. I was like, okay, I'm going to play it. So I played it, and it's actually the first game I actually sat down and played it through. Like, bam, bam, I just sat down every single day, played it, and I beat it yesterday. And after I beat that story, I mean, the design of the levels, I still get chills about the field. I mean, I think about the field, that scene where you go on the field, and you see like all the fallen soldiers, I get those chills right there. I'm getting them right now. That scene was amazing. I was like,
Yeah, indeed, very
Okay,
powerful.
but did you want to slap the little boy?
I knew it.
That's the only
I knew
question.
that always
He's
comes up.
just a boy.
He's just a boy. He doesn't
Yeah,
know
you
these
know
are
what?
Monsters.
You know what? So is little Loki, and he needs to get slapped too.
Yeah.
I like little Loki.
There's only one game.
Boy.
That was the game. That's it, right? That's the only kid I want to slap. It's the God of War kid. Oh my
Hashtag
God.
beat your kids. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
What? We need to
Jesus.
have a conversation, man. What's wrong with you?
I mean the video game kids.
Unfortunately,
everyone's
this
about to go viral
podcast
for
is
the
being
wrong
shut down
reasons
behind the scenes.
Indeed.
Oh, man. Oh, you know what other game I'm waiting for? And this one has me the most excited. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
I
Yes.
want to play that so bad. That has me more excited than all those games.
Can I throw something, a monkey wrench into this podcast, folks? The last couple of days, I have been kicking it old school. I went back to Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I've been playing it relentlessly and realized that it's not a good game. It's
I didn't expect that answer.
yeah,
nice swerve on there, Boom.
my problem is I really dislike having to build these vehicles when that's not what I want to do. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 in the gunk, which is, if you have not played it and you love platformers like I do,
It's great, right? I love that.
it
game. It's
is
fun.
phenomenal. It's gorgeous. The story, the conversation between both girls are so
very
real.
Very raw and real. Yes.
It is like they are real people. Like the acting is just so good.
See, I've heard people say, I've heard some proper journos and whatnot say, oh, it almost felt amateurish because they're not video game
ridiculous.
speak, you know. But that's actually, it's a plus in my opinion. They're talking like real people do it. You don't hear that often in video games. I loved it too. I thought it was great.
Does it make me a troglodyte that I needed more action in that game? Because
you want action? There's a game for you. It's called Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
look. Each game to his own. I mean, listen, could there have been more action? Sure. Do I think it needed it? For me, no, not really. But I'm bringing this cart back around to Crazy Lou because you said that you're very excited for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I think we all are. I mean, I played in the arcade with my brother. Those are some of my most memorable times at Nathan's in Central Avenue, Yonkers. We used to converge there after working shifts at Funkoland, and we would play all night long. But I am going to say, everyone in the chat, we have almost 150 people here. Mayhem Brawler is a gem. That it is one of the best side-scrolling games.
Is that the game that looked like the Streets of Rage 4 game you were playing a couple days ago? It looks like Streets of Rage a bit.
It's Streets of Rage meets Final Fight.
Okay.
But it's so good because it's told through like comic book panels, and after the first level, you are able to choose which way you want to go. And there's multiple, and there's always two choices. I've played through the game. I'm on my third playthrough. It is just incredible. So Mayhem Brawler, Crazy Lou, if you like side scrolling beat 'em ups, you definitely got to give that a shot.
Yes, I will. I mean, when I saw it on your Twitter, I was like, I gotta get this game. It's on my eye right now. I'm gonna go for it because I love side fighting.
Oh, dude, it's absolutely incredible. So did you give your 5 or you have one more?
Oh, I have one more to go.
So let's go.
And I'm going to tell you something because I want to see what this game is about. And it also has me excited. The Hogwarts Legacy.
Dude, that looks fantastic.
I want to see that. I want to see that. Because, I mean, I'm going to tell you something. If I go down the list, a lot of them are shooters. And I've seen so many shooters for a long time. And I really want to see something different. I want to see how this Hogwarts is going to go. Because it's going to be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's gonna have all the houses from the films and the books, and I think that you're going to be able to play through one, start a new game, play through another, and I think you're going to constantly get a different overall, ending potentially because you are playing different, all the different houses. Wow. It's going to be big, and I think that's why it's taking so long. But those are awesome top 5 picks. Mag, I want to bring this back to you because you were cheering. You were
Sorry, yeah.
You said we were talking about these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which looks so good. It just is just amazing. What are your top 5 games of the big 3?
Oh, the top 5. I'll tell you, Nintendo's not in there at all. And the only reason why is I'm not being slanderous towards Nintendo. I mean, I usually am, but I still don't think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. I agree 100% with what Everborn said. I stand behind that. I think that you know what? The way that they operate, like a toy company, they're going to try and attach it to a new toy. And I think that he's absolutely right. I'm going to stand behind him on that one. But anyways, let's get to what
I'll just get behind me on this Batman stuff and we'll be good.
Oh, dude, I actually have a lot to talk to you about Batman later. But later. I got some stories. Anyhow, let's go with the top 5. I got to tell you, right out the gate, I'm excited to see a tropical world version of Horizon Forbidden West. I'm really excited to see that game, to play that game. I liked the other one. I didn't love it. Now, the thing is, I'm a sucker for tropical locations in video games. I don't know what the hell it is. You give me Uncharted, you give me Tomb Raider, going through the jungles, going through this, going through that, and then I see this game, and they got the jungles, the beaches, they've got the mountains, they got all this stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in 100%. So I'm really excited for that. Honorable mention, though, to January, even though it's not really a new release. I am a sucker for one of my top 2 greatest franchises of all time is Uncharted. And I'm really looking forward to Legacy of Thieves coming out for the PS5. I will be playing that on January 28th. But I'm not counting that as part of my top 5. It's just an honorable mention. Let's move on to the big guns. Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I was never a Souls guy. I played Sekiro. I got halfway through it, and I hated it.
What?
And I got it. There's no map. The map is ridiculous. It's like a painting that Bob Ross made, and I'm like, what is this? Where are the waypoints?
You get lost. Yeah, that happened to me a lot in Sekiro.
It's so stupid. And I'm like, but the thing is, they made the maps so big that you're trying to go around without waypoints. You know, people in the chat will probably be going like, good, Mag. You know, whatever. It's fine. I'm not into it. However, I bought Demon Souls, okay, for PS5. I am officially a Souls disciple now. I am 16 hours in. I'm still on the first level, and I love it.
It's great.
Is it because it's brutal?
I love it. I'm a glutton for this punishment now, and I'm enjoying it because now I'm up and taking a shower in the morning, and I'm sitting there going like this. I'm scrubbing. I'm going, so maybe I'll go to the left instead of the right. And then I'm at work cutting broccoli, and all of a sudden I'm like, maybe I should go through that door instead of going through that archway. Maybe I'll try that when I get home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets in your head like a parasite. And, like, I just can't stop playing. So now that I'm finding out that Elden Ring is, like, literally just going to be, like, an amazing successor to this game, whatever, I am so in. I've been talking to Randall Thor about it. It's his most anticipated game of 2022 is Elden Ring. I'm on board 100%. And, of course, a lot of people like Skill Up. I don't know if some of you guys have ever watched that guy on YouTube. He played that, that demo that they released. They released a key to certain people, certain influencers. And he played, and he said it is beyond remarkable. And I trust this guy 100%. So I'm like, you know what? Elden Ring is right there. So we're going to go Horizon Forbidden West. We're going to go Elden Ring. Let's move on to my number one choice and the most anticipated game of 2022 is got to be Hogwarts Legacy. I am a huge Harry Potter fan.
Did you watch the reunion over the weekend?
No. I haven't seen it.
I'm going to watch it. It looks like it's good.
I was just way too busy this weekend. I got a lot of stuff going on with work and stuff, so I wasn't able to watch it. But I'm going to watch it this week. I am a huge Potterhead, not Podhead. Potterhead. Okay, I'm a huge Potterhead.
Get the ER in there. ER. Hard R.
Another E and an ER. Harry Potter is my jam, and this is like an absolute dream for me. Giving me an open world RPG in the world of Harry Potter. Are you out of your mind? There is going to be nothing else that's going to compare. Like, you could throw Suicide Squads at me. You could throw Gotham Knights at me. I'll deflect them like Captain America. Be like, get the hell out of here. It's Potter time.
Can we talk about the amazing year WB Games is getting ready to have with these releases?
God.
They have quite a few.
Now
this year.
they are either just going gun ho and saying, you know, we're gonna make a thing of this, or they've timed this to up their price for.
Exactly.
no,
You know what?
The Microsoft's already talking. They understand.
That's a seesaw. You know what? Everborn's got a point there. You know what? You flash the goods, AT&T could ask for more.
Yeah.
Right. So
I said this in the beginning.
The last time.
Well, no. All jokes aside, and we're not going to turn this into an acquisition conversation, but there is no doubt in my mind that no, I know you would. There's no doubt in my mind that Microsoft is going to when they make this announcement, folks. It's just a matter of time. I'm saying it right now. They're going to overpay. They're going to overpay because they are in a position where they understand if they walk away with WB Games, they are getting a shitstorm of incredible IP developers, and they're going to be able to go toe to toe with Sony, who has Marvel on lock. Like I said, I don't want to get into it, but there's a reason why they have Marvel on lock is because of the whole Spider-Man sharing agreement, which it has been re-signed once again. So the Marvel game is not coming to Xbox, and I think Microsoft understands that, and what they need to do is, you know, find another source of superhero, power. And you know, I don't think anyone would complain if the next Arkham Knight title or the next Batman isn't exclusive to Xbox. But continue.
Yes. Okay. So I gave you my 3. My 4th, and I still think it's coming out in October, or I'm not saying November, and I'll tell you why. October is going to be God of War. They have a placeholder for the 30th. They're starting to talk now. Their account is starting to become a little bit more active. Alana Pierce is starting to become a little more vocal. That means that they got something to show. And they got more to show anyway. I think the game's coming out in October. It's not going to go as late as November. And the reason why, let's face it, Sony is very vain and narcissistic.
Yes.
On the best of days.
They want this into the Game Awards conversation. 100%.
Right out of my mouth, dude.
Yes.
You pulled it right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. They are not going to go 2 years in a row without a Game of the Year contender.
Yes.
You know what I'm
100%.
saying? And you know that they're
Well, you know they're going to have 2 because, listen, I don't care what anyone says about whether you like Aloy, whether she gained weight or she didn't. I am so stoked for Horizon. She's one of my favorite original IPs for Sony. I've been talking about her since I was on Crossfire. I love Horizon. I like you. Aren't
we so glad that Sony is saving the gaming industry by giving us real women that aren't just sex objects? Aren't we?
Don't go down this road now.
We're not turning into an SWJ podcast, by the way.
Jeez. Anyways, I put.
Thank God for Sony. No,
thank you, I avoided that entire situation. Okay, so God of War is my number 4. Let's move on to number 5. Here's the shocking one: Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty.
Okay, I mean,
and the reason why is because it is Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty, is coming out. And I loved the first one, regardless of the fact that, and actually, you know what? I really liked Cold War 2, by the way. I'm not ashamed to say it. That campaign was fire. Whoever played that. And plus, they had 99 Loof balloons on there, too. I love that song. But anyways, that's besides the point. So Modern Warfare 2 is my last one for 2022. Now, the honorable mentions, guys, we all know what they are. You got the Suicide Squad in there. Unproven. I need to see more of it. Gotham Knights, unproven. Need to see some more of it. Other than that, really, there's Starfield. I need to see more of Starfield. I want to see what's going on there. If it really is the Elder Scrolls in space. I mean, I'm in day one, obviously, right? But I'm just saying, I need to see a little bit more. So I'm talking about from what I've seen so far. I mean, I know that's kind of contradictory because we've seen nothing of Call of Duty, and they're certainly not going to announce it. However, I do absolutely know that it's going to be Modern Warfare 2 this year. So that being the case, that will be my surprise anticipation of 2022. But either way, number 1, Hogwarts Legacy.
Nice. That's a good one. Tempest Son, are you there, brother?
I am here.
Let's get your top 5 of the big 3. What is tickling your fancy, so to speak? Pause.
Jeez. So not because I want to be a special snowflake, but my list might be a little bit different.
Okay, no,
than
that's
what
all
I've
right.
heard so
Listen,
far.
but your list is
man.
your list.
Yeah. First and foremost, everybody's seen the trailer now, or trailers, I should say. But Lost Ark, it's a MMO in the vein of Diablo and Path of Exile, except it doesn't play like those games. On the surface, it looks like it does, but it's an actual massive multiplayer game. But it's more like combo driven. The combat's very, very weighty. I actually installed the Russian client about a year and a half to 2 years ago now, and the game keeps growing in popularity. It's one of the only MMOs outside of Final Fantasy, I guess, that grows in popularity instead of dipping in player count. The game is absolutely massive. It just keeps getting more and more popular. They just had like a yearly event where they show what's coming in the future. It's insane. If you want to look more info up on it, there's a lot of hype behind it. It's finally coming to our area, but I actually played the Russian client, so I know how wonderful it plays. And that's coming out February 11th, so really soon. And that's top of my list, so I'm ecstatic for that. That's coming out. I'd say one that's on everybody's list, but it's rightfully so, is Starfield. There's a reason why Skyrim is still memed and quoted and anything else you can think of to this day, quite literally 10 years later. It's a massive game, and only the way that, Bethesda can do. And I'm interested to see what they do with a whole new IP again, the first one in forever. They're taking it to space. I love sci-fi games. So absolutely Starfield, 100%. I think this, this isn't like a guarantee or anything, but just judging by the timeline, we're due for a new mainline Monster Hunter game. And they've shown that, they've shown that when they announce them, they always come out a few months later. They never announce it, and then 2 years later. That's not how they operate. They announce it a few months later, it's out. In the case of the last one, they announced it at E3, and it came out January 28th the following year. So that might be 2023, it might be 2022, but if there's a Monster Hunter game coming out, it's probably going to be multi-platform again. And if they're building it for this new generation of consoles, I can't wait to see what they do it, because the monsters, the effects, it's a spectacle, right? This is one I'm a little bit unsure. I tried to find information on it, but remember that leak we had from Capcom, another Capcom game?
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
I know you. I knew that was going to be one of your games.
Yeah,
I just
Dragon's Dogma 2, man. That's one of those games where there's not quite anything like it. And then when you think of it, no matter how many times you've played it, even if it was just a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever, you think of it and you're like, oh God, I want to play that. I have to play that game again.
I never forget the first time I played it. I jumped on the monster and I'm whacking away, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't believe I'm doing this. Right. Yeah. So that one's on my list. And as far as one that we know for a fact that's coming out that I'm excited for is Crossfire X.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Crossfire X, many different reasons. It's huge in other regions as far as the multiplayer goes, so I'm excited to see what they can do here, see why it is so popular. But the campaign looks amazing. I'm interested to see what Remedy can do with that kind of setting. It's different for them, right? So I'm kind of excited to see what they do there. Let's see. The other one, though, I guess this is the one I'm not sure about if it's coming out this year. So there's a lot of if it's coming out, right, for me. But DokeV, that game that that game that is what the Pokemon Company should strive to achieve, but never will. As long as they're making games, they will never achieve anything as ambitious as what they're trying to do with DokeV, what Pearl Abyss is trying to do. But that just looks like a bundle of fun. It looks like something I can play with my kids. It's like a Monster Hunter meets Pokemon game. It's one of those things where when you see the trailer, you're like, is this a game or like a glorified tech demo? You're kind of unsure what it is, right? But that looks like a ton of fun. And I like me some Pearl Abyss. Apparently, it's my most played game ever, according to Xbox, was Black Desert Online. So,
Nice.
yeah. So looking forward to DokeV, and that'd be my list. So
Listen, dude. You know what? That's what I love about gaming.
Yeah.
It's such a smorgasbord of IPs and
Mhm.
genres that no one's list is going to be, the same, which is great. Now, before I bring Kay Asante and everyone into the conversation, I got to thank Aaron JF with a $2 super chat, and he says Terminator Resistance snubs next gen Xbox fans. I played Terminator Resistance. I think I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements. That game is freaking pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. And Brian Hopkins drops a very generous $10 super chat and says 2022 is going to be an embarrassment of riches for us all. I can't wait for the releases to start rolling out. This is true. This truly is the best time to be a gamer. Thanks, Boom and Panel. This will be fun. Yeah, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. But I want to give my quick picks because I'm going to name
that. Go to Everborn. I want to be last, if you would.
Okay.
Mind. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. So here are the two ones that jump off the page for me that no one mentioned, and because I'm such a huge horror fan, the Callisto Protocol.
I was gonna say that.
Space.
Nice.
I was gonna say that.
Is that
game
coming out though?
Yes,
Yes,
late,
yes.
late 2022. Both of them.
Did they announce a date for Dead Space yet, or a year? Or
yeah, late 2022. Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes.
Jeez,
So
man.
yeah, dude. So those two jump off the page for me personally because I'm a survival horror fan. I love Dead Space, but I really want to see what that original team that brought us Dead Space is going to do with the Callisto Protocol. It looks really scary. I can't wait. Horizon Forbidden West coming, folks. You should have expected that from me. Another one. Now, I don't normally play these types of games, but I am such a Marvel stan. Marvel's Midnight Suns, because
Didn't
it's
that
going to
get delayed?
Yeah, it got delayed to quarter 3 and 4 of 2022.
Okay.
So it's
what's
kind
coming
of
this year. Good.
Yeah, it's coming this year, but it's going to be XCOM, which I'm not a big fan of. But there's supposed to be some action sequences in there.
Okay.
So
What's it on, Boom?
It's
What
on
platform?
everything.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I
Multiple.
believe.
Where the hell was I when they announced this?
It's going to be on PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S in 22. And the other one was already mentioned by Crazy Lou is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, my God, that game looks so good. I'm glad they delayed it. I'm glad they're taking their time because that's a game that you're going to want to jump into Noof Nukem's game nights because that's an old school romp. Hopefully it's big, it's long, it's 4 players. Pause. Because that sounded very sexual.
Man,
I mean,
that's
big, long, and 4
monster
people.
pause.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. This is getting out of control.
I'm so proud. I have trained you all so well.
So those are my top 5. Everborn Saga. Let's get your top 5 of 2022.
So a lot of the games that I was going to choose were mentioned already, and for the audience, I want to give them some things that haven't been mentioned. You already know I'm standing on my square Sonic Frontiers, right? Now, here's another thing that no one has mentioned, and this is my dark horse. A Halo Infinite campaign expansion.
Wow, you think it's going to come out this year, brother?
I think so.
Interesting.
I think so.
Wow.
I think we
What a
get
good
that this
pick.
year. Now, here's another one that everybody seemed to forget about. Tunic.
Oh, yes, dude.
All right,
Right?
now I got to take that off my list.
Okay. I'm not done yet though.
Keep it going. That's right.
Replaced.
Oh,
taking that off my list as well.
Fantastic.
You son
Yes.
of
That's
a.
Replace
right.
looks
Beautiful game.
really, really good.
yes.
Now, and I don't know why no one mentioned this, and I think this is going to be a sleeper hit of the year, and it's going to hit everybody out of nowhere, and nobody's paying attention to it. Potentially Game of the Year contender just by the caliber of the people who are making it. Redfall.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And tell me, somebody call Cap after we see that all the things that that Deathloop got nominated for? Tell me I'm lying.
No,
Yeah,
you're
Tell me
not.
the studio doesn't have the pedigree.
It does. It absolutely does.
Tell me when's the last time Arcane ever missed?
They haven't. Not yet.
Right?
Yep.
So again, these are my things. Halo Infinite campaign expansion,
Love
Sonic Frontiers, Replaced, Tunic, and Redfall. Boom. Mic drop. You know what?
Wow. Don't break it.
Well, live on the air, folks. He dropped
This
his mic.
man.
But can I add a little fire to your list, because I want to tell you exactly what that campaign for Halo is going to be. It's going to be Lock.
Whew.
Oh, don't play with my heart, man. Don't do it.
It's going to be
Just don't do
Lock. And what
Don't do it.
happened? And what happened to his team after Halo 5?
Well, it's either gonna be Lock or Blue Team. Because remember, if you pick up some of the audio logs, what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? Not
Buck?
Halsey. What? No.
Lasky?
Lasky, yeah. Lasky sent Blue Team to go do something that he didn't tell Halsey about.
Yep.
So that is, even if that's not the next one, that it will be one of the
That is
story
a thread.
extensions.
That is definitely a thread. Yeah, true.
Oh, hold on a sec. We got Dutch here. Hold on a sec. Dutch, are you here, brother? Let's get you. There he is. All right, Dutch, you made it, bro. What's
Oh,
up?
man.
Yeah, lights
Dutch,
are dim,
good evening.
painkillers have kicked in.
I won't
Excellent.
yell.
Yes. Okay. No. Well, listen,
Much.
Dutch. We are glad to have you. But first of all, Everborn, that
What?
is a monster list. A lot of games that, quite frankly, left off the talking point. Let's get
And I did
Keosante.
that just to trip up Keosante.
Oh, I love
Because
it.
no,
I knew
you
those were
didn't
going to be
trip
on
me
his
up, man.
list.
And
He's
you
going to
were
say
absolutely
Atomic
right.
Heart.
You were absolutely right. So because I know what everybody's list is going to be like, right? That whenever you talk about these lists, you get the radio hits, right? We all want to see Starfield. We're all gonna play the next Horizon. We're all gonna, those are basically built into the cake. So I like to provide, games that people may have slept on or forgotten about. We'll be playing those as well. But I have a bit of a list here that folks might not remember, or it came and went, and they don't keep it in the psyche. And of course, I will cheat, so it's way more than 5. But I'll go through it quickly, I promise. So, for Nintendo, the next Mario and Rabbids.
Oh, that
The
looks
first
great
one
too.
was really good.
The first one was
Like,
fantastic.
better than it
Yeah,
had
that
any
was
right
good.
to be.
Yep.
Yes. Coming in 2022, called Spark of Hope. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that Ubisoft Nintendo collabo still works well. Last time it did great. I'm thinking that it might still be good. Advance Wars 1 and 2 remake.
Yeah, dude, my
on
brother is
Nintendo.
going crazy for that. Yeah.
I know people who are ready to give their children away just for that game. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
that's
I'm actually
that's
looking
a
forward
Switch
to checking that out.
exclusive.
It's a Switch exclusive, yes. And this is Nintendo Square, so that's for Nintendo. For Xbox, of course, myself and the slanderous one think alike. So I had Replaced on my list, right? First Night is nowhere near close, so we don't even know where that's going to be. But if it was, that'd be on the list because it has the same kind of Replaced kind of vibe, right?
Oh, you're talking about
Tunic,
Last Night.
obviously. Last Night. I'm sorry,
Yes.
the Last Night. Yes. Tunic obviously was also on my list. 2 more exclusives that may have come and gone out of people's psyche. Somerville.
Oh,
By
dude,
the
that
by
looks
one of the makers.
freaking
Yes.
fantastic, dude.
Somerville, yes, because the animation is bar none. I can't wait to see how that turns out. And I also saw somebody in the chat mention it. Planet of Lana. If you hadn't seen it, it was on the Game Awards.
Yes.
There was a trailer drop. I was completely enthralled with it, and then I found out it was an Xbox exclusive. I was like, "Wow, that's absolutely amazing!" These are the various.
You know
Game
why I
Pass
was
drops.
amazed by it? Because it looked like a PlayStation exclusive.
Yes, it did. Yes,
Yeah.
it did. And then it wasn't. Yes.
Did anyone list Warhammer 40K?
No.
Yeah,
I consider that a radio hit because that is
Okay.
a known commodity. That everybody's going to love that. I'm
All right,
looking forward to
I got
it.
one for you. What about Exomecha?
Oh, dude,
Exomecha Exomecha is free to play and it will go everywhere eventually. It's only a short window of exclusive.
Don't matter.
So no, you are right with that. Yes. But let me move quickly along. PlayStation, Stray, the cat game. I love it for the animation alone. I don't know what it'll look like, but the animation alone evoked something. It was really cool. This is kind of a radio hit, but I'm so excited. And Boom, I expect you to be excited about it too, being the brawler hit, the fan that you are. Sifu. I am
Sifu looks
completely
fantastic,
surprised
dude.
at
Yeah,
how damn good that
absolutely.
game
Yeah.
looks. I'm excited to play that, right? And then Little Devil Inside. That was also very cool, very like high end indie, if you will. Also a PlayStation exclusive. You know, those are ones that may come and in between all the AAAs, people didn't see them. It looks like the people that are working on them have worked on it for a long time, and it's really, really interesting. So you may want to look it up. You may want to, check it out. What excites me are the third parties, and they are all happen to be in Game Pass. Why? Because I like to save money. It is what it is. Atomic Heart, as the man thought I would say. Indeed, if you haven't checked it out, just the trailer alone will make you watch it twice. Yes, Atomic Heart is amazing. Bomb Punk Cyberfunk. Have you heard of this?
No.
This is the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have an eyeball in that game since 2019, and it's coming out this year. I can say that now, 2022. This year, it's coming out. I'm so excited because not only does it has the animators from Jet Set, it has the musicians from Jet Set. It's literally Jet Set, but without calling it Jet Set. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that ends up shaking out as well. It will be in Game Pass day one, so no stress on the wallet there, right?
Yeah. Watch Sega turn around and like see the success of that and use that.
I hope so, man.
Jet Set Radio.
I hope so.
No, but they shouldn't. They should let these guys get the shine. Like you.
I want them to make a remake of the original.
Yes, indeed. I want them to just give me another installment. Besides
don't
that,
worry. After
Evil
the Xbox
West
acquisition, they'll give it to you.
Oh, stop it with the acquisitions already. Evil West. It came out of nowhere.
That's the one that's like the 3 3/4 view, kind of like the
no. It's not 3 3/4 view. This looks like Jonah Hex.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
basically, he's walking around. It's like basically a Western walking around with his hat on. Like the graphics were just insane, murking monsters left and right. It was also a trailer from the Game Awards, which came out of nowhere and was like, "Yo, this game looks." I think it's Focus Interactive makes it very interesting. Will be in Game Pass day one.
Nice.
Right. So another one that won't hurt the wallet, and then one for Tempest, who I know loves Pearl Abyss. Plan 8. If you haven't seen the trailer for Plan 8, do yourself a favor and go see it. It's an exosuit MMO shooter coming to PC and console. I mean, when I tell you that the graphics are as amazing as the Matrix experience, I'm not joking.
Wow.
It is that good. And obviously it's an MMO, so it's going to be a bunch of people.
Wait, what's it called, Asante?
Plan 8. The word plan and the number 8.
Yes.
I don't recall.
It is. I'm looking it up. You need to look it up. They've been hitting you with so many different things that these things kind of slide up behind the radar
more. Like people
because speaking of Everborn, look at what's coming this year. You're just gonna get buried by mountains.
But Plan 8 shits all over everything we just talked about.
Just take a look at it.
Wait till you see the trailer. You're
like look at Stalker 2. No one's talking about Stalker 2, and that looks like it's a great game. But like, look at the monsters you're going up against.
Hey man. People just talk about the radio hits.
When it comes to
that third track is also pretty decent, but you got to go scrolling through it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
I'm watching
that's
this
going
Plan 8
on
right now.
It is amazing.
This is something, man.
It's insane, man. And they use the same
actual in-game footage. It says
that's right. It's the same engine as DokeV, if you believe that. DokeV went the flowery route. The vibrant, colorful route, which is great, right? But Plan 8 takes it to that Matrix real mech suits, drones flying ahead, crazy bombastic stuff. Plan
like
8,
the running on the walls with the exoskeleton legs and
it's
stuff.
Like they went okay, so Titanfall has this, let's take that. So this has that, let's take that, and they smashed it all into
the development
Unreal Engine 5. Pearl Abyss.
Oh, Pearl Abyss. Sorry, I missed you saying that.
Same people that are doing DokeV. Yeah.
Now one thing. Sorry. I still think there's going to be a lot of things that weren't announced yet that we will come. Now, my question to everyone is: do we get this not so secret In Exile game this year?
Not so secret.
Well, that's a good question. I think Microsoft has quite a few games up their sleeves that they're not talking about yet. And I think the State of Decay 3 one, the cat came out of the bag because no one expected that this year. And that's being, if what you didn't know, that's being made on Unreal Engine 5. And with the new studio opening up for support, tells me that it seems like it might be all steam ahead for Undead Labs and State of Decay 3, which again we're going to talk about in tomorrow's show. I got a funny feeling we're getting a Days Gone type campaign with that.
Hey, when does that game that everybody was Black Myth Wukong? Does that come this year?
I don't know.
They have not announced even close to a date.
Yeah, they haven't.
Hopefully, at some point we see some more. Yeah, we
you know what? We gotta also anticipate the fact that a lot of these games that they said were coming this year, that like that, for example, like Wukong and stuff like that, they will push easily till 2023 if they can afford to do so, because you're going to get crushed by competition.
Well, think about it.
And they don't want
right?
to. You know what I mean?
The reason why PlayStation is looking to have a banner year is because a lot of their 2001 games will push to 2022, right? So most of the 2022 games is probably getting pushed to 2023.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the longer you wait, it gets worse, because we get to 2023, we're talking about Avowed and Fable and all these other things, like
Spider-Man and whatever else.
Where are you going to put games in 2023? This is going to be a monster generation.
Maybe by then they'll have Spartacus to put it on.
No time of year is safe anymore. Normally you could say, January's quiet, February's quiet, we'll release our game then. Look at this February. It's like a traditional October.
You got to tell these game studios to hide the kids and hide the wives. Right?
Yeah, it's out of control.
Arc Raiders, that was when they showed at the Game Awards. Is that this year?
I don't think they put a year to it.
Yes, it's this year, 2022.
It is.
Ooh, yeah, they said that was released this year.
And we are sure that they will hit that date.
You know what game you guys have not mentioned, which I know is going to be a big boom, is that Ghostwire Tokyo. That's going to be a good game.
That's
going to be a good game.
It's ridiculous.
I'll mention that when it's included in my subscription.
Yeah, when it actually comes out, just like when
sounds a lot like
comes
the
out.
King.
Exactly. There's no shame in my game.
No need to extend
I didn't make
the
it this
backlog
far in
even
life
further.
by throwing away money unnecessarily.
Indeed.
No, that's a fair point too. Like, I'm not buying Dying Light 2, even though I'm a huge zombie fan, because I've got 3 big games coming within 3 weeks. I'm just going to buy Dying Light 2, and it's going to sit there for 5 months.
Yeah,
I might as well wait the 5 months, and I'll buy it for $30.
Or it'll be in Game Pass day and date.
Or it's going to be in Game Pass. That's right, Boom. We've talked about this.
Game Pass in less than 5 months.
I think it'll be Game Pass day one.
I'm going to say it right now. I think it's in Game Pass day and date.
We said that from the beginning because Microsoft gave him $50 million to get them out of development hell.
Yes, they
and
sure
you've
did.
got to understand, you've got Forbidden West knocking on one door, Elden Ring knocking on the other door, who has, by the way, the Sony marketing rights, or Sony's got the marketing rights for the game. So everybody thinks it's the PS5 game.
So for Elden Ring,
I thought Elden Ring was Microsoft.
Is it?
Yeah,
I could have sworn it was. Yeah,
because a lot of people.
Microsoft.
Maybe I'm wrong, because I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, it's coming to Xbox." I thought it was a PS5 game.
No,
that's
I'm sure that they have the marketing rights to that game.
Yeah.
Damn it. Well, maybe I was absolutely wrong.
It
Okay,
was
well,
first
either way.
shown
They do have the marketing rights. They haven't been marketing it much.
Because it was first shown on a Microsoft stage. Ever. Elden Ring was a Microsoft stage.
Never mind. I'll pull back my statement.
No. You may have a point there. Remember, because
they need to battle.
Even at the game at Summer of Game Fest, they were supposed to show that there as well. But then there was those reports that Bandai Namco didn't want to take the bag because Sony was upset. So it may have changed hands. Who knows? Yeah.
Interesting.
I
mean, they need something to battle Forbidden West and Legacy of Thieves.
Yeah, no, listen, I think you're onto something.
And that's Stalker 2.
But you know what? It is. Stalker 2 is going to be a big one for sure. But again, they did bail them out with that big influx of cash, and I think that with Microsoft doing that wasn't for them to just hey, we want to save another studio. Either that was because they're talking acquisition, which of course we're going to get into in the second half of the show, or we want that in Game Pass. Here's $50 million, because they do pay buckets of money to get these games day and date.
Unless it was a down payment on something else.
Indeed, maybe it was. It's, hey, listen, you're joining us, but keep doing your thing. Yeah, maybe. Keosante, incredible list, absolutely incredible list.
I had to cheat. I'm sorry. There's just so much out there, right? And everybody just keeps talking about the radio hits. We got to remember some of the hidden gems underneath it.
Absolutely. I love hidden gems.
I agree with
Sorry to
you.
interrupt. Elden Ring's E3 2019 announcement was a Sony announcement.
Ooh.
I'm
Okay. So it
literally
wasn't-
staring at it right now on my screen.
Well, then I stand corrected, good sir. Interesting. Okay.
It's
okay.
on the official PlayStation channel on YouTube. It got 2.6 million views, and
So
it was announced
first
on
shown
the
off at.
PlayStation.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, good to go.
Isn't that
Good to know. All
crazy?
right.
Because
Yeah.
I thought you
'Cause it's
know I thought
changed
you
hands
guys
quite
might
a
have been
bit.
right. It is an Xbox marketed with Xbox, but it was announced on the PlayStation stage
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
or
Good to
show.
know.
Excuse me, not stage.
Yeah. Well, the Wandering Dutch, first of all, welcome, brother. I'm glad that your migraine went away and the meds kicked in. Let's get your top 5, and then we're going to get into the second half of the show.
Definitely. Top 5. That's pulling it fine, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Tough, right? That's why I cheated.
Everyone had a difficult time with
You're
this.
lucky I didn't add some backlog games from this year to my list. There's some things I'm working through.
You know, there's only one Nintendo game that I'm interested in this year, and that's Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah, that does look good. Yeah,
it's a Pokemon game that they should have.
That Kirby game looked interesting.
I'm hoping that Kirby game is like Mario Odyssey, but just with Kirby.
Yes.
Well, it probably will do. It'll do what it needs to do for Kirby. But I mean, Kirby was great when I was a little one, but it's as an adult, Kirby's not a giant pink inflatable thing is not my.
I feel like we should say pause, but there's no warranty for that one. But still,
Yeah.
I feel like it's necessary. I don't know why.
It is a ridiculous concept, though, as an adult. It's like a big pink marshmallow.
Yeah, it's just.
This said, damn, Kirby, in high school, you was the man, Kirby. What the F happened to you? Yeah, the spark when he started, now he's just garbage. I'm sorry.
He's just garbage.
It's
That's right.
definitely
Keep going.
the
Keep going.
definitely the standout for me. That's the Pokemon I hoped they'd make when they first announced the Switch. Like a home console, proper big open world Pokemon, and like a next generation. You feel, but that's what I wanted them to do, and it seems like that's what they're eventually doing. So I'm really looking forward to that. PlayStation side, obviously the big two. We're talking Horizon and God of War. Fingers crossed God of War does make this year. But if it doesn't, I won't be mad because I want God of War to be a great game. I'm still undecided whether or not God of War Ragnarok will live up to how great 2018's God of War was. Because that was a masterpiece in storytelling.
So Dutch, real quick question to you before you continue. Why is it that you, and you're not the only one, a lot of folks have been saying that we already know that this is basically reuse of assets from the first game. Why is it that everybody's convinced that this game will not release this year? I don't get it.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the story of the mocap actor. Remember, he came out and completely put the blame on his
So
shoulders.
that's the reason. That's the reason why everybody is convinced it will come out this year.
Mocap's the reason why some of these larger games have really been set
100%.
Okay, I understand. I'm sorry. Continue,
and just the scale in which this, because of course they were working on it prior to everything else happening. Of course, it's a direct follow-on to 2018, and they were already working on it when 2018 kind of took a pause after its development. They already had the loose storyline there. We seen it when we finished, and for anybody who hasn't already finished 2018's God of War, you knew at the end of it that, and even midway through when the realms, 90% of the realms were blocked off, I was saying this is DLC.
It was it's supposed to be an expansion. There's no doubt about it. They turned an expansion into a part 2. That's a fact.
Yeah, they expanded the expansion. It
was a massive missed opportunity for that game to not explore the other realms that were within that. The fact that they're already saying like after Ragnarok that's the end of the Viking kind of Norse mythology. I was like, well, didn't you spend
we just got
3
here? Like, I don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah. It's massive. Didn't you spend three entire games going into like Greek mythology, but then you went straight into?
Well, technically 5, because if you count the PSP releases, they really went ham on Greek mythology. So they spent technically 5 games there.
Yeah, and then with Norse, it's just as big, if not larger, than Greek mythology.
I agree 100%.
They've just went straight from the beginning of Norse mythology to the bitter end, which is Ragnarok, which is the end of days. What, like, it's just like, right, let's just finish it here, just Ragnarok, and then I don't know how they're expecting to end on Ragnarok, because that would signify the end of days, and if not the end of, you can't say that Kratos is going to finish Ragnarok. You can't say that he is the savior of the end of the world, because I don't think that would be the case. But it's, again, I'm not sure how the story will fit up, because the first one was so strong in its stride, because it was two interweaving things. Obviously, the story between the father and the son, and then the second one, which was the epic adventure of getting the ashes to the top of the mountain to spread the ashes, to obviously celebrate the life of his mother. And because obviously that it was like these two massive things in between, and then these people trying to stop them along the way for nefarious reasons. I don't know how Ragnarok's going to go against that in terms of its whether or not it'll be as important of a storyline as this first reboot was. So I'm hoping it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it, but I have my reservations at the same time. Whether or not it'll live up to it and saying that, not that I'm putting a slant on this new guy, but what Corey Barlog achieved with this one, and then he's already taken a step back for the follow-up, also has my concerns. Why you would hand off the series to somebody else after his first full title, in charge of the...
Supposedly he's working on something else.
A new IP, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a sci-fi, I think.
Yeah.
IP that he's working on.
So
and I'd love to see whatever Corey's working on now.
I agree 100%. Anything else you'd like to add to the conversation there, Wandering Dutch? Uh-oh. Yeah, I think he froze. Yeah,
look at it.
All right, so we'll get him.
Maybe Corey Barlog brings out Sony's Starfield competitor.
You never know. You just never know. But while we wait for Dutch, you there? Is he back? No, he's not back. He is frozen. So, okay.
I honestly thought he fell asleep because of the.
No, he's smiling. Look at him. He's smiling.
He's smiling because he just.
That's how I imagine Dutch sleeping.
He's doing that mannequin challenge from a few years ago.
Oh my God! Real quick, Wandering Dutch dropped into the private chat. Elden Ring currently is on sale for PC on CD keys for $31.99.
$31, yeah.
Whoa,
$43.
$43, yeah.
On PC,
which is bonkers. Okay, so let me catch up with super chats. Elemental P.O., good friend of the show, he drops a $5 super chat and says, "Good evening, gamers. How about they release the first expansion when co-op is ready to drop? Double whammy." Indeed, that's something to be had. I love that idea. I think that would be fantastic. Don Otaku drops not one but two super chats. The first one of $5. He says this: anyone notice they haven't announced January Game Pass games yet, but two games dropped randomly today? Really? I didn't even know that anything dropped today.
I didn't know either.
And Don Otaku's second super chat of $2 says, Nintendo's lineup excites me the most this year. Nintendo is, I think you got Bayonetta 3, you got the new Kirby, you got the new Pokemon, potentially Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime Trilogy is supposed to be released this year, finally, after Jesus Christmas. I don't know how long what they're waiting for that. Nintendo's got got Mario and Rabbids, the sequel. They have a lot. They have a lot to get excited about, and I'm probably buying two copies of all of those games, one for me and one for my nephew Tyler. But I want to bring in. Well, first let me get Dutch back in here. He is. Dutch, you're back, brother. What other
Wi-Fi
games?
disconnected there.
Yeah, that's all right, brother. What other games you want to add to the conversation before we move to the second half of the show?
Definitely. I have to shout out Replaced. I'm really looking forward to Replaced.
That looks great.
That looks awesome. Probably in light of, thankfully, Tim Cerez came out recently and said The Last Night will make a bigger appearance this year, so we will see more of The Last Night. Thank God.
Yes.
But the Replaced give me The Last Night vibes anyway. So
both those
really
games
great
give
to
me
see
the flashback vibes from way back in the days. Anybody remember Flashback?
Yes.
Of course. Yes, they've remade that so many times over the years.
Yes.
The original's amazing.
And of course, we can't miss out the Xbox, the big Xbox games. I'm looking forward to seeing what
Starfield.
Redfall is.
Yes,
but-
Redfield is going to be big. I think it's going to be a big game.
But as like many, I spent hundreds of hours in Skyrim when that released. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. So I'm looking forward to playing Starfield and diving deep into what Todd Howard was saying is essentially Skyrim in space. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about and what that adventure's all about. What powers you get, what abilities you get, and it's going to be a monster year. And of course, that's just things we know. So if it was just to kind of finite things into a little bundle, then it's going to be the big releases that you speak about. But yes, another little shout out as well that I hope to see more of this year. I don't know whether or not it is definitively releasing, but a game called Pragmata.
Oh yeah.
That looked very interesting.
Mhm.
Hopefully we see more. If not, it releases this year, but that might squeeze into 2023.
Was that a Square game? It had very Square vibes for me.
It wasn't, I don't think. I don't think it was.
Or either Square or Capcom, one of the two.
Yeah. Possibly Capcom, I think.
Maybe. I'm not actually not even sure, but great picks, dude. I mean, really great picks, and the bonus one is one I actually completely forgot about, to be honest with you. But listen, folks, real quick, TK Chillin drops an outstanding $20 super chat and says, "Hi guys, happy new year of fantastic gaming on Xbox." Indeed, it certainly is, and thank you so much for the generosity there, TK. And we have Drawn TJ drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hi guys, can't wait for another year of amazing gaming." Yes, indeed, and it's going to be a big year. But listen, folks, second half of the show, this is where we have some fun, and of course, that topic is going to be. It's kind of like a buffet. Anyone picks anything they want to talk about and just go crazy with it. Now we know that Everborn is going to talk acquisitions, but listen, with games, right? We are expecting some big things. Everyone had incredible lists of games that they're anticipating, whether they make it out in 2022 or whether they're potentially pushed into early 2023. We're only going to know as we get there. But I want to know what the panel and, of course, the chat. We have almost 300 people here. I want to get your opinion. And I want to talk acquisitions again. And I know that this is a topic that some people find boring. I happen to find it absolutely enthralling because last year, unbelievably quietly, I should say, Sony had a pretty banner year, man, when it comes to acquisitions.
It was acquisition season, wasn't it? It was just for Sony.
It just was for Sony because they set themselves up.
Organic AF.
Well, listen, they are who we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? Remember that coach Dennis Green when he yelled into the microphone? Mm-hmm. Well, that's Sony. They are who we thought they were. They talk a lot of crap and then they go back on their words and no one calls them out on it because, well, they can do whatever they want. But anyway, let me reel this back in. This year, and we're starting to hear it. We've heard Jez Corden talk about it. We've heard Randall Thor on the Xbox 2 podcast talk about it. We've heard, of course, John and special Nick over at Xbox Era start talking about it. We've been hearing the rumblings from some of the industry insiders. No specific acquisitions on who Microsoft or what acquisitions would happen from whom. But it does appear that the consensus that we're starting to get is that potentially as early as mid-January to early February, there should and could potentially be a very big Xbox announcement. But my question to the panel, and of course I'll start with our very special guest, Crazy Lou Gaming, of the big three, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, who are you expecting to really drop the salami on the table?
Jeez, pause.
Wow. Indeed. And it's Genoa salami, by the way, the best kind. Who is going to drop it on the table and say, I'll take these 5 or 6 developers, and we've just made that much bigger, splash in the industry. Where do you go on this? Crazy Lou Gaming. Is it going to be Xbox? Is Sony going to pull the money out of the hat and borrow a bank from somebody, or is Nintendo going to shock the world and maybe buy someone, or just stay like Nintendo?
You forgot to mention Tencent too, because
Tencent is
everything.
Tencent and Embracer Group are two that we cannot forget about, because Embracer Group is currently sitting at, I believe the last count was 90 studios for Embracer Group. God. And I talked about this on I believe it was 2 X-Vlog episodes ago, where Tencent in the last 24 months has invested in 82 separate developers / publishers, folks. Not outright ownership, but little investments. 82, 51 this year and 31 last year. And that was confirmed by Daniel Ahmad, who obviously is a senior analyst and also someone that everyone knows from Twitter fame. So he does know what he's talking about. And you're onto something with that. I said it in my X-Vlog, the next big acquisition may not actually come from Microsoft. It could come from Tencent, but I think Microsoft is looking at the playing field. And like I said in that video, and if you missed it, you can definitely go to my YouTube channel and check it out. The three studios I think already joined, and just we don't know it yet, are Crystal Dynamics, IO Interactive, and Avalanche Studios. These are all working on exclusive IPs for Microsoft. They're all big 10-year plan games. So it would make sense that, think about this. And again, I'll give you the mic in a second. With Crystal Dynamics specifically, what company lends out an entire first-party AAA studio to a platform? It's never been done before. We've never seen anything like it. And that's because the bag has been dropped on the table. We just don't have those announcements yet. But by all means, Crazy Lou, take it away.
I mean, I remember the other day I was watching some pictures around Twitter. There's these famous pancakes that people don't talk about that much, that Matt Booty posted as a picture. And he had these awesome pancakes on there. And one of them, he had a square on it, which we know which company they bought, which video game company they bought, because we saw that. And then on another picture, there was a nice star on it, a beautiful star. And that beautiful star, of course, we all know which one it is, which is, right? Take-Two.
Yes, indeed.
So I think this year because I'm going to tell you something, though, and this is actually happening. All of these guys have to start buying studios, because Tencent is actually a big guy in the competition too.
It is a race to the finish line on who buys what. There's no doubt about it. Please, by all means, continue.
Yeah. And that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to buy, but I think the guy is going to have the bigger buys is going to be in Microsoft, because Microsoft has got the funds. And what's his name? Sadaya is his name, right?
Satya Nadella. Yes.
Satya Nadella told Phil Spencer, you have the ball on the court. You can do whatever you want. Let's go do it. So yeah, I think they're gonna do the biggest buy this year, and they're gonna announce something huge. I think WB is gonna come in.
I agree.
Yeah, that's one it's already giving me chills. I know that WB is gonna come in. I think Rockstar is gonna come in pretty soon. Take-Two is gonna come in pretty soon. When, I don't know, but I know it's gonna happen pretty soon. I cross my fingers it does, but yeah. And another one, I think Sega too, because Sega is.
Oh, now you're talking everyone Saga's language.
He's back, folks. He's back from the dead.
No. I mean because
go on, sir. I'm listening.
Sega and Microsoft have been working from the beginning. Since all this began, they've been together at this, and it's been a fun journey with both of them. So yeah, it can actually happen. But for
20 years.
Yep. But for me, yeah, that's the thing that Microsoft is going to buy, because the other day I read something. I don't know if it's true that Sony was going to whip out $17 billion to buy studios. I don't know if that's true.
That's a load of it. They just don't have the cap room for that kind of spending.
Exactly.
They just don't.
I saw that. I was like, I don't know about that. But if they do good, I mean, they need to buy studios because there's a hidden monster next to them that's gonna wake up and it's gonna boom right on top of them. It's gonna blow up right there, boom, and that's Tencent. Tencent is not kidding. Tencent is looking to buy whatever it can. They're not joking about it, and they're demonstrating it that they're not joking about it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And if you look at what Tencent has been up to recently, they have opened up AAA development houses in both the West and the East, on top of investing in all these studios. So they're definitely up to something. And you don't invest in 82 different developers
Yeah.
slash publishers if you're not looking to make a big splash in the gaming space. That is for sure. Those are great picks. But you know what, Everborn, let's bring you in because I know you're salivating at the mouth here. Look, we have talked about acquisitions on this program practically, I want to say, at least half a dozen times in 2021. The conversation has not changed. It's a new year. Last year, Sony did some things. They bought some studios that they have worked with for years, which made perfect sense. They bought some support studios to help with these big AAA bombs that usually take anywhere from 4 to 5 years to release, because they are high production value titles. There's no denying that. But we also saw them pick up studios that could help port games over to PC, which we know that is ultimately Jim Ryan's plan to leave, instead of leaving money on the table, which is what they've been up to. But where do you feel? I mean, how crazy do you think Microsoft really gets? Because Crazy Lou brought an incredible point that Tencent and Embracer Group are buying up everyone. Microsoft, I don't think, can afford to sit on their hands.
Yep.
Well, the other thing to think about, though, and I do disagree a little bit about the Sony thing. I think they would spend 25 billion right now because money is cheap, inflation is on the rise, stock prices are overvalued right now, and there is concern of a correction in the market. So you might as well spend it while it's worth a lot now before the proverbial shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
So and it is easier to do that than to keep the money sitting in the bank where
that's why Microsoft has all this money they're looking
no,
to spend.
absolutely, and I'm coming to that. But I do think Sony would spend that money, because if you look at the percentage of the company of the revenue that PlayStation brings in versus the movies, and they do big business by selling life insurance in Japan, believe it or not. That is definitely a possibility for them. So don't sleep on what Sony's willing to do. Now, they have been, even in their year full of acquisitions, they have been very conservative in the purchases they make. They're not going after IP. I think they feel like they have the IP that they can provide. They just need the studios to make it, right? Yep. So, but Microsoft's strategy is a little bit different, and this is why they will pay more, because the value of any acquisition is not it is in the talent and the tech, but it's really in the IP. That's where the big money comes in. So the question is, what big studios, and don't mind my puppies, I'm trying to talk over them, but don't underestimate what Microsoft is willing to spend. So hang on a second. I'm sorry. Can someone take over for me?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go yell at my puppies. I'll just give me one second.
Yeah, go do what you gotta do. Mag, let's bring you in on the conversation.
And I'll come right back to that point. There was something I wanted to say.
Yeah, we'll have a Mag. Because I know you got some meetings coming in. I know we want to get your opinion on here. Look, this is going to be a big year for spending. I think for Microsoft more than anyone. We have heard that they are sitting on billions that are ready to be spent. Yes. I think that they are politely and quietly lining the ducks up. I honestly feel in my heart of hearts that we are going to get an E3 level announcement that is similar to what we saw at E3 2018, where they announced the 5 acquisitions and the creation of a new studio, where, though, I think Microsoft is just going to be in the acquisition phase. I honestly think that the 3 I mentioned earlier are they're already here. they haven't announced it. That's IO, that's Crystal, and that is Avalanche. No one locks up entire development houses to work on exclusive titles for a platform unless there's a bunch of money changing hands in the form of an acquisition, at least in my personal opinion. How big do you think Microsoft could actually go in 2022?
Well, here's the thing, and this is something that we've talked about before, obviously. They've made mention that they will continue to buy individual studios. They've made mention that they would like to, more so than Sony, actually organically grow a studio. Like a smaller studio, and then sort of like, and sort of develop them into something much bigger and better or whatever, right? Like, I mean, look at the way that Sony used to do it. Like, look at like a company like Naughty Dog. I mean, this is even before they were making Crash Bandicoot. They were making silly little PC games, and then they ended up making Crash Bandicoot. They picked them up, and then look what they are now compared to like what they were 25 years ago, right? So I could see them doing that, but those are long-term goals in order to maintain the service that they're grooming for the future, right? I mean, we're in it now with Game Pass and everything else. However, they're going to need that content not next year, not the year after, not the year after, not the year after, because from 2026 and on, we don't know what the hell they're going to be doing, right? Because a lot of those companies are going to be coming off of those big games, and then there's going to be a gap. And see, that's something I don't want to get off on a side note here, but I am going to bring it up, is that a lot of people are saying, well, where's all Sony stuff coming from all these studios? I'm like, they just released everything at the end. They blew their whole load at the end of last generation.
Pause.
Thank you very much. But it's going to take 5 years, 6 years for them to release, let's say, sequels or whatever, right? Or even original.
Well, the next Uncharted, whatever that turns out to be, is going to be a 5-year development cycle.
Well, let me ask you another question.
Yes.
Does the current chip shortage that the whole industry is experiencing, which leads to less consoles being in people's hands, does that affect their release strategy in terms of the big name titles? Do they hold things off until they have more consoles in people's
only
for Sony? Sure,
Sony.
Only Sony would have that problem. Yep.
Because Microsoft is Microsoft is developing and grooming their product well outside of the realms of the console world. And that's why they continue to do so. And if I'm not mistaken, I did hear that someone said that 2022, might have been Jez actually, is that 2022 is going to be the year that they really push hard with their cloud gaming and, of course, their screen app, which is going to appear on smart televisions.
Yeah.
Okay. A la, what's it called? Google, whatever the hell it was, Stadia. Okay. So they're going to be working on things like that. Apparently, the big push is coming this year. Why? Because why be dependent on that silicone, whereas you can branch out? I mean, and Microsoft obviously has the infrastructure and the money in order to do all this, right? And so they are going to be moving away from all that. So to answer your question, the only people that are concerned about that is Sony. So I could see it affecting their situation. Okay. Now, however, that's why another reason why a lot of the games are coming to PS4, because they just, that's what's out there. Let's face it. There's like 120 something million PS4s out there. There's only like maybe 15 million PS5s. And I don't expect that many more in 2022, to be quite honest. So maybe they could squeeze out another 10 or 15 million.
Dan Smooth told you 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, that's a whole other side thing. But anyway, it's a very important factor. But anyways, the thing is, what I see Microsoft doing, and Microsoft mentioned it a few times, and Satya Nadella mentioned it himself, and Phil Spencer mentioned it himself, and Matt Booty said it. They said, why bother with these individual studios when you could just buy the publisher and they can run themselves?
Yep.
Right? And let's face it, Matt Booty doesn't need anything more on his plate right now.
No, I actually think you're onto something, because that's why Bethesda is left alone with the two heads. They're running it because Matt Booty does have a lot on his plate, and if they were to buy a WB Games, or let's say a Take-Two, that would
Right.
probably run itself.
It
They
runs
wouldn't make any
itself.
change. Yeah.
Even if I were to take this on a personal level, like, you know, what I'm doing with work and like the work that I'm trying to get and I'm moving on up, okay, not to the east side for anybody who knows.
To the deluxe apartment.
Right.
Only-
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say whoever's old enough to remember that. But anyways, you know, I'm taking a promotion at work or whatever. I'm dealing now with other buildings in the company, right? However, I don't have to stick my fingers into their pie, and just see what's going on over there. They tell me what's going on because they're running themselves, but I still have to deal with them in phone calls, conference calls, whatever, right? Now imagine what these guys are doing. Like, it's on a scale that's way, way bigger. They don't have time to be. You think Matt Booty's going to walk around 26 studios to see what, you know, Joe Sixpack is working on? They don't have time for that, right? They don't have time for that. They're like, okay, listen, you guys govern yourselves. We trust you. We have the proper people into place. You report to me every 72 hours or once a week or whatever. We'll have a sit down. We'll have a conversation. Give me the skinny on what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? And so they do that kind of thing. And that's where publishers are far more important. Now, the other thing is, let's not fail to realize that the reason why publishers are also important is because they have a shit ton of development teams in their umbrella, which means what? Lots of content. Because that's what they need to pump in, good or bad. I hate to say it, but I'm sorry. Good or bad, you need content, and it needs to be constant and fresh. Look at Netflix. Couple of winners, whole lot of losers.
Taste is in the eye of the beholder, man. Some people consider your winners losers and vice versa.
Right.
Some people love that.
And I'm just saying that from a personal level.
To your point, Mag, right? When you buy a publisher, the content is part of it. The management is part of it.
Yes.
But in terms of sort of capital expenditures, right?
Yeah.
These things are already in motion, and this is a company that's already making money, right? So you do spend the big money up front, which you're probably going to do in a lot of stock anyway, but you're not throwing money into it right away. Like day one, those employees are paid, versus if I buy a studio, now I'm funding you for $100 million until your next project comes out 3 years from now. Right.
That's a good point. So it's self-governing even on a financial level.
Exactly.
Right. So I know that's an absolutely good point. So these are all the pluses I see from of acquiring a publisher as opposed to studio. Right. Now, however, Boom, I do agree with you on one absolutely that I think that IO, I think Crystal and Avalanche, I think those are 100% coming. They are very talented, and I think that Crystal Dynamics, my personal opinion is that Crystal Dynamics may become Xbox's answer to Insomniac.
That's a great point, dude.
Insomniac, I could have bought with the change under Satya Nadella's couch. They missed an opportunity there. 240 million. Jesus.
What to that point though, just because I see
it's
a lot
funny
of
because
people...
Ted Price talked about that before that acquisition, and they were very, very stout in saying that they wanted to remain independent when Microsoft inquired, and then when Sony inquired, they were sold. It's pretty interesting.
Just one thing to think about, because I know a lot of people run to how much Sony paid for Insomniac versus how much Microsoft paid for whatever studios they bought. Again, it comes back to what IP does that studio come with. Insomniac did not come with any notable IP. So they bought them basically like acquiring the talent. Right, which is a good thing.
He's right, because they didn't develop Spider-Man till
They paired them with the IP because they had Spider-Man to give them. Sony already owned the rights to Ratchet and Clank and all those things. So Sony's like, here, I'll give you nothing basically, and now I'm going to give you my IPs and tell you what to do, or you pitch me on which one of my IPs you want to work on. Microsoft is saying, hey, you got a flagship IP. I want that. And I'm going to pay you for that. So Microsoft is not stupid, and they are overpaying, but they're overpaying to lock things down, not because
you're taking an Elder Scrolls,
right?
For example, that is a monster IP to have under your belt, right? So, like,
dude, the whole list of IPs are just ridiculous.
You know what other
Wolfenstein, on and on.
You know what other studio Microsoft should really take a look and buy? The El Sobo studio, the Plague Tale studio. They
Dude,
need to
I've been
buy
saying that forever.
If they don't have
they need to buy
already.
that. Now, I hope they do though, because if they don't, they're really missing out.
Can I piggyback? I want to just pose a very quick question before you guys move on to somebody else here. In regards to that, do they need to purchase them when they get their games in Game Pass day one?
You said they let them get it on the first night, so there's no chance for them to get engaged. That's messed up.
You know what I mean?
That's messed up, man.
No, I know.
Like, why buy the cow?
Why buy the cow when you get in the milk?
Yeah,
well, but here's the problem, though.
I actually think you're onto something, because here's the thing with that particular statement: has Xbox Game Pass become the real exclusive?
Well, that's the thing, Boom, because when these games do come out, like, for example, like, how many times do we have to talk about it? Everybody thought that Outriders was basically an Xbox game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, there's a couple of others sprinkled in there. I'm not going to go into every bloody detail. But the point is, what if, and I think that's actually a good idea. And you know why? I think it's a great idea because it's low risk in terms of, okay, if the game doesn't hit, they don't own it, right? They're gonna be like, well, it was their kind of thing. We put it in Game Pass. We thought
you know
like
what?
it.
You know what, Mag? Though that's why you haven't gotten another Alan Wake, because they didn't own it from day one. That's why you haven't gotten another Killer Instinct. If they don't own it, as good as it is, even if it's great, the next one becomes more hard fought rather than, hey, just go and get it again, right?
I know.
That's exactly what happened with Remedy.
Different, like, thoughts that they might go through to be like, why bother buying these guys when we could just get their games into Game Pass day one? Just like Boom even said, basically a day one Game Pass game, especially as the service keeps growing, it's already in the mind share that it's an Xbox game. So you've basically done it. And if it just doesn't work out, you can punch his pilot that shit and wash your hands and be clean of it. Be like, what me?
To push back though, how'd that work out for BioWare?
Exactly.
I know. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm just saying it's. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's an option.
True.
It's just an idea that you could kind of, you know what I mean? Just in case you could keep it, them at arm's length. But like, if you're picking up a publisher with like established IP, that's something a lot different, because now you're buying not only the pedigree of the studios, you're picking up the names. Right? You're picking up big time quality names, titles, things that people recognize, people understand, people know. It will bring more people to you. So I don't know. These are just thoughts. I'm just throwing around, seeing what sticks, right?
So, okay. And all great points. Boom, can I come back to
jump back in, brother.
Thought from earlier. I apologize.
Can I say something real quick,
Go ahead.
Because you said that that about Sony that like you were saying that they should, like, we shouldn't like take hold or like hide beneath them, like of what they can do. The thing is, Everborn, if Sony does not start to move a lot faster than what they're doing right now, because Tencent, Microsoft, all these guys, I mean Amazon Luna, all those guys are moving on quick, are marching up quick to buy studios.
Yep.
So Sony needs to start moving, and they need to start is it called agilizing and moving up forward and start buying everything they can, because really they're gonna stay behind.
Three games a year is not going to be enough in the next couple years.
Nope. Yes,
you know what I'm saying.
That's why they're gonna pick up Square Enix before.
Do you remember, guys? 2018, they won the year on 2 games. That ain't going to cut it in 2023 and beyond.
Nope.
So okay, so here's the thing. My only point with Sony is, don't put it past them to spend $25 billion on acquiring studios and maybe a publisher, right? But I don't know about a publisher, because it does seem like they like a tight level of control. So I don't know if they're going to want to buy a publisher that they're going to let continue to operate. It has to be something interesting. But as it relates to Microsoft, so while I do think that there are more publishers on the way, and I know that they have stated as much, I still believe that a Bethesda level purchase is a once in a generation thing. It's not something that happens sort of overnight, right? So while I do think another publisher is happening, and I will stake my claim on this, not that I haven't already, I think the next publisher that they purchase is Sega, but I just don't think it's 2022, right? I think we will see a lot of individual studios purchased before they get to their next Bethesda level.
Well, that's then what you're
acquisition.
saying is that history is going to repeat itself, because what you're implying is that this year specifically we're going to see what they did in 2018 by acquiring 5 studios and creating their a sixth, which would, of course, in my opinion, be they're just going to get 6 studios. They're not going to create another initiative. They're just
They're not.
So they
Now,
get 6 studios, and then potentially in early 2023, you're suggesting that Bethesda level next acquisition.
I don't even know if it's 2023. I just know it's not. I don't think it's 2022, but I just think a deal of that size could take years just to get the paperwork right.
Yeah,
so maybe they started those discussions, but for something like that to go down, I think it's a bigger deal than people think. And I think we haven't heard about any other acquisitions because they've been spending all this time integrating Bethesda, right? And Bethesda still has other titles they have to release that like Tokyo Ghostwire that isn't even coming to Xbox till a year later. So they're still working that out. And I know that they're moving on big publishers, but I just don't know how soon to even expect that. But I do think the next publisher they purchase is Sega for reasons I will get into in a moment. So I want to limit my discussion because I do think there will be acquisitions in 2022 to individual studios, right? Now, I think I do think Asobo is an option and a strong one at that. And I think depending on how well A Plague's Tale Requiem does, maybe you announce it then at the release of that, right? Because remember, like A Plague's Tale Requiem is almost made on the backs of Microsoft paying them already, right? They're getting all the money for developing and supporting Flight Sim, and now whatever money they got paid to put the game in Game Pass. So that game is really funded by Microsoft, and I instead of waiting until they get scooped up, maybe they grab them. Now we've already heard from Jeffy Grub Snacks.
Yes, Snacks indeed.
A lot of the studios they're working with right now are some trial bases, right? Meaning, hey, Avalanche, let's see how the working relationship is with Contraband. We don't have to wait till it comes out, but we're going to look at how production is going, and then we will do this acquisition, and closer to the release of the game, when all the hype is around, that is when we say, guess what? The newest edition of Microsoft Studios, right? And then they can decide whether it's going to go under Matt Booty or it's going to go under Todd Howard and Pete Hines in the game, right? Now, another one. I think we could see an acquisition of Crytek.
I've been saying that for a while, and as great as it would be great to get the Crysis as first party. It would be great to get finally a Rise Son of Rome 2. The Crytek in itself is worth its weight in gold.
That's what I was coming to.
Engine,
Because see, one thing a lot of people don't. I mean, they do give Sony credit for this, but Microsoft they have not really been known for creating their own engines. I know there's DX12 Ultimate, but I feel like the engines kind of sit on top of that, right? So they don't really have, until they got Bethesda with id Tech, they haven't really, and obviously you've had Turn 10 with the Forza Tech, right? But they
Obviously, you had
haven't
Direct 3D before that.
right. But what I'm saying is they don't really have something on board that is like the Decima engine or whatever they use for God of War like that. Now they do, now that they have id Tech. And I think Crytek is another thing to add to that stable. This is pushing the art form forward. I'm not just talking about artists, but I'm talking about like engine designers, and having those guys there, I think we're going to see improvements across the board. So I think they go for Crytek for the tech. On top of, hopefully we get Rise. We'll see about that. So we talked to Sobo, we talked Crytek. IO Interactive would be huge.
Yeah, well, they're working. They have
Right?
apparently Project Dragon is a 10-year plan. If that doesn't say, "Hey, we already purchased you," I don't know what does.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, because you're not gonna work with someone for 10 years and just you know what I mean. Leave it up to their own device.
Same with Asobo's plan with Flight Sims 10-year as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I mean. So I
maybe
think
you guys have got onto something there.
So another one like IO Interactive. We'll see with Avalanche, because I could picture it. Now, I am going to stand on this square where I think not all of WB Games is on the table, but I do think that TT Games and NetherRealm are in play.
Yes.
In 2022. And if you notice, those are the only two studios from WB Games that don't have something announced. Remember, WB Montreal has Wonder Woman coming out later, right? And then we got
TT Games has gone completely dead silent.
Wait a minute, doesn't TT Games have that Skywalker Saga game coming out, but they delayed it another year?
They do.
True.
They absolutely
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they delay. See, I always thought they delayed it another year to give it time, so that not time for the game. I think they gave it time because they were getting purchased.
Right. So and Boom, you know the thing that we will not mention here.
Yes.
But those two studios are absolutely in play. Now the rest of WB Games may not be.
Yeah, well, let me add to the fact. So people, if you want, if I can speak broadly, I'm gonna take a broad stroke with this. I can safely say that Everborn not only knows what he's talking about, I can absolutely back up what he's saying. The two studios that are in play, 100% is TT Games and NetherRealm Studios. Two, which by the way, two monster game platforms missing from the portfolio: kid-friendly games and a fighter. Someone to make a fighter.
And this is
by the way,
this is the important thing also for Xbox. They are very heavily leveraged on studios that have specialized in. And I know just because you specialized in one genre doesn't mean that that's all you have to do, but I think they are going to pick up studios that fit holes in the portfolio.
Indeed.
Studios that are experts at doing games that they don't have in the ecosystem. And that is where Crystal Dynamics comes in for that just one third person over
right, that third
kind
person story driven adult themed title. Yes.
So for me, I say Crystal Dynamics, right? Crystal D's, right? I say Asobo. I say Crytek. I say IO Interactive. I say maybe Avalanche. I say NetherRealm, and I say TT Games. And those are the 7 studios that come E3 will blow everyone's face off if those are the 7 studios we get. And that will effectively be purchasing something the size of Bethesda in terms of IP and studios added.
So quick question, Everborn. How much money in total estimated do you think they would give out for all of those for those 7 studios?
Yeah,
just an estimation.
I'll tell you right now. $5 billion
for all 7.
All 7. including all their IP. Actually, not even 5 billion. I'm going to say 3.5 billion. I'm not even going to go.
Sure
Wait,
about
whoa,
that.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
But well, okay, wait, hold on. Let me think about this. I'm going to go back to 5 billion because I remember that I included NetherRealm, and that would come with
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So that brings me back up to 5 billion. 5 billion for those 7.
Whatever the amount is going to be, and we're going to go to Kay Asante next on this. Whatever the amount is going to be, this is going to be. It's going to be an overpayment on several levels because they want these studios, and everyone is onto something.
Crystal Dynamics, Square is not going to let go of Tomb Raider. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, I think that's gone.
They will. I don't think so. I think they can't wait to sell us Tomb Raider NFTs. That's what I think about Square.
I mean, it's an interesting concept, but here's the problem. One of the Montreal, Eidos Montreal is another one I think is considered part of the Western studios that Square Enix is not fans of. Right?
Yep, true.
Guardians of the
They're trying to get rid of all the
Galaxy
West.
is going to be was in many people's lists of for their game of the year, but according to Square Enix, it sold extremely poorly. And I'm here to tell you that game is $30. If you don't buy it, I'm going to punch you in the face.
There's something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you.
Well, they also said that what was it? 7 million was below their expectations.
7 million of Tomb Raider was not good enough. There's something wrong with them. But Kay Asante, let's get your opinion on this. Look. Again, we're not discounting Sony. We're not discounting Nintendo. But these behemoths are going to be who they are.
Of course.
You know, there was someone in the chat that asked, you know, why did Sony buy these? I forgot these 3 particular studios, and that's because they're trying to get. They need support studios for games. You said it before. 3 games a year isn't cutting the mustard. It's just not. And they need studios to help produce these monster AAA bombs that we know and love them for. And they also needed someone to be able to port to PC, which is something that no one thought would ever happen. But we've only been talking about this on this show for 2 years. They are going to pull a Microsoft. I'm not saying it's day and date, but you're going to get games.
It's walking.
Closer.
They're walking the walk, right?
They're walking the walk.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let you run rampant. But who do you think has the biggest acquisition year?
So I mean, clearly it's about due. Microsoft is about due for that because they've already telegraphed it. They've already done the Babe Ruth thing. They've pointed. You know, you just haven't seen it. They haven't been at bat just yet, but you've seen them point. You know, they've said it out now. They've done so, right? And of course, you know, between all the as we do here, we all the radio hits have been played, and they are mostly correct, right? Definitely. I stand with Everborn when I say that if the Sega thing is real, which all signs point that way, it's not in 2022. It is a future, you know. But as you do with them, you know they're buttering them up right now. We shall see where it goes.
You like to say, they're buttering their bread.
They're buttering their bread before they eat it. You know, that's what it is. And I feel there's a pause in there too somewhere.
I cleared my throat instead.
But as I like to do, I like to throw a little spice in the sauce. So let me go a little different angle here. Okay.
Here we go. I already know where he's going. Embrace a group. Go ahead. Just say it.
Embrace. Let me say it. So I let you say Sega. Shut your mouth, man. I said this a long time ago. When we were talking about this, and somebody said Sega, I said Embracer Group is a team you should not sleep on, right? I said that. People were like, "Oh, come on," and I also spoke on how many IPs they currently hold, right? At the time,
old IPs.
At the time, it was 244 IPs. How many old IPs? He says there were lots of IPs, including good sir. I'm talking about the likes of Insurgency. Oh, and the screen is shifted a little bit. You're missing, and you're muted there, Mr. Boomstick.
About that. Add to the stream. Let me just put this back
to
normal. There we go.
Okay.
And you're back.
It's back to funny money. There we go.
So that's what's going to happen if Microsoft purchases Embracer Group.
Have you heard of Insurgency Sandstorm? It is taking over.
I heard. Yes, I heard about. It's big.
Guess who owns that?
Embracer
Group.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. Have you heard of the new version of the Borderlands that everybody's so excited about coming out very soon? Embracer Group, right? And they just bought Dark Horse Comics. So
And that's
you know
big.
there's going to be a Hellboy game coming out soon, among many other storied franchises from them, right?
How'd that last Hellboy movie do?
We're not talking about the movie.
Okay,
The
We're
movie
not
was
talking
awful.
about the
I
movie.
like the old
Question.
ones.
But we're not talking about but
Okay, just
but
asking.
even in that world, right? Even in that world, just like we don't talk about the bad Spider-Man movies, we talk about the good ones. There are at least 2 good Hellboy movies out there. The third one not so great. I hear you, right? But at the end of the day, they are a player in the game, right? And as of actually January 2022, I was looking it up. They are worth $11.9 billion, say round number 12. What's the biggest acquisition Microsoft has made? 20 something?
26 billion for LinkedIn.
Exactly. And
They just spent 19 billion on Nuance just for some speech recognition.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Now Embracer Group, with their 244 IPs before Dark Horse's purchase, because now it's worth a lot more, right? Way many more IPs, was about $12 billion. So add your interest tax to that. It's still not the biggest acquisition they've made.
Yeah,
and
true.
Talk about filling every gap. They have so many studios. I'm talking straight mobile studios, AA studios. You want to fill Game Pass all day, every day, even without third parties. You want to go the way of Netflix, where it's all about your content and not third-party content. Embracer Group. Am I saying, are they going to do that? I'm not necessarily thinking they will do that, because where I will talk out, I will go against my own argument is that is a lot of overhead. Like
that is a lot.
Last check, it was like 1,300 employees extra. There's like so many studios, very many subsidiaries. The Gearbox being one of them. Many subsidiaries. So it would be a big uplift. Which, hey, we've also said that they like to take on entities that can manage themselves. They can definitely manage themselves, right? We haven't seen them be ridiculous recently, and they fulfill a specific niche in the market. They're not there for that AAA banger, right? They're there for the stuff you play mainly in Game Pass.
Spend all of this money for Game Pass fodder.
See, but this is what you're saying. You're saying Insurgency Sandstorm is Game Pass fodder, which is absolutely ridiculous, because a lot of
240 IPs, and that's the best one you could come up with.
Bro, they're strategically releasing games out right now.
Yeah,
right?
They're doing it right. They
bought the rights to Kingdoms
quietly, by the way.
That's right. That's right. They're being very strategic. They bought the rights to Kingdoms of Amalur. They re-released it, sort of patched up the old one a little bit, but there is talk that they will definitely be releasing
there's a new expansion that never released.
That's right.
Let me throw you a bone, sir.
Here we go.
If they were to get an Embracer Group, that is not the next purchase you want. That is not while you're trying to establish a level of quality in the service. You see what they did in this last year with the games that they released and everything. The lowest score they've got in the last 14 months.
The problem you have is you
82.
think Embracer. When you think Embracer, you think, the overarching Embracer. Embracer is the quiet giant in the corner, right? THQ Nordic releases excellent games.
How was Biomedia?
Was an excellent game. It was an excellent game. Oh, here we go. Are we gonna? We're gonna use.
And is anyone still talking about it? Again, we are talking
That's
about
ridiculous.
high-profile content.
By that metric,
trying to grow.
By
the
that
service.
metric, good sir, nobody would talk about something. By that metric, by your metric you just defined, nobody would talk Sega, because their scores
Sonic
are
is
terrible.
One of the most known IPs instead of those ugly rats you were playing as in BioMutant.
Here you go.
Look,
listen to this guy. You see.
All I am saying
is when anyone denies that Sega is not the only game in town, he has to come out fighting like a 10-year-old boy. See, you see the beard.
Listen, we can bring out the financials where they talk about how Yakuza is now a mainline IP, and that's thanks to Game Pass and all these things. We could talk about that, sir.
Needless to say, before he became the PR intern for Sega,
Game Pass out
needless
here
to say,
saving Sega.
Needless to say, all I'm saying by bringing this up is there are many other very interesting purchases that are in front of you without necessarily having to go to the radio hits all the time. Because guess what? If you're out there going for your WBs and you're going for your Sega and you're going for Take-Two, they're not the only game in town, because guess what? As Crazy Lou has pointed out very aptly, Tencent's not to be messed with. Until recently, right? Just until recently, there was talk that Tencent was going to come out with a console in the Western market. They're square focused on the Western market. So if you want to fight them tooth and nail, they got the same money you do. And you don't want to have that battle with them, right? Because they're backed by the Chinese government. So no matter how good you are, they better because they have some serious money behind them. You know what I mean? Now, recently they said that the Chinese government kind of pushed back on them a little bit. So maybe we're not 100% sure on the console front. You might see a streaming service. You might, they're out there. And they're not just going to let you come in and go, yep, Take-Two's ours. They will drive up that price. And Amy Hood is not a fool. She's not just opening up Microsoft's wallet whenever they ask him.
Well, no, she's the CFO for a reason.
That's right. She's a respected money cash lady in the industry,
people are not gonna like.
Go ahead.
Tencent or whoever can keep Take-Two. I don't think Microsoft needs or wants that.
Okay. Well, hold on. Before we continue, for the record, this is a man that has never played GTA 5. Where you out there, Cybernox?
It's crazy.
Whenever he says anything about Take-Two, disavow anything that he says about Take-Two. He's never
what's
played
interesting?
GTA 5.
Did you guys see the end of year polls from all the different companies, whatever? And the number one game played on Steam for 2021 was Grand Theft Auto 5.
Exactly.
Is that not insane?
And this man is like, oh, they nothing. Like, get out of here, man. Until you play GTA 5, we don't want to hear from you about Take-Two. Get out of here.
2021, the number one game played on Steam was Grand Theft Auto 5.
That launched in 2013. PS, by the way.
That is like mic drop after mic. It's crazy.
That is Minecraft level staying power.
Yeah,
right. That's what it is.
And they continue to make money on it. It's crazy.
Yep.
But listen,
and again, Take-Two is not. Take-Two's magic is not only Rockstar, right? That's the brightest star you hear. But they have so many others that they make ridiculous amounts of money on. Honestly, would I want them to buy Take-Two? No, because if they do, then they have to renovate Take-Two. They have to stop turning them into nickel and diming hustlers. And nobody wants to see Microsoft go through that, because the minute you do, maybe people who like certain things will start hating. Oh, we had it good before Microsoft bought them. I don't think, who was it? I think Jez said it best. They are very averse to controversy. They do not want to be part of any kind of ridiculous, whether it be ill behavior in the marketplace, or they want to be the nice guy. That's their business model these days. So if they tie themselves to a company that has potential, drama, they feel like they will be held accountable, and they don't want to be in that
market cap is over $20 billion right now.
Exactly. Now, another reason why they wouldn't buy that.
When you think of the markup they would have to pay on top of that,
probably 25
value
billion
consideration,
yes,
25 to 30.
Yeah.
To 30 billion, that's right.
So
whereas Embracer,
how many other publishers, self-managing publishers, and IPs could they buy for that money that will do
they
better?
Will never pay that
service?
for one.
GTA is one game that people play for 10 years at a time. It is not.
I'm not
worth
denying
it.
that. Well, no. See, I'm not saying it's not worth it because GTA is a money printing entity. GTA,
except if you look
GTA
at
is
their,
like the adult version of Fortnite. Like,
okay, but look at their profit margins for the last 5 years. They spend a lot of stuff on licensing
and all that. Yes, that's true. So I'm saying
they make $3 or $4 billion and only take home $200 or $300 million.
All I'm saying before they'll go Take-Two, they would go Embracer Group, because they don't have that problem, and the market cap is much less. It's $12 billion.
Remember Everborn, that Microsoft bought Minecraft for $2.5 billion, just that one studio. So it could happen though.
Yeah, that was worth it.
It could happen.
You're playing backseat quarterback, bro. At the time they did that, people looked at them and went, "Oh, there they go. They're off their rocker."
Yeah.
So you can say that now.
Can happen.
Okay. My question to you is: Take-Two worth more to Microsoft than LinkedIn? If the answer is yes, then we can continue this conversation. If the answer is no.
No, Everborn. What I'm saying is, you did not hear me say they should buy Take-Two. I'm saying you have no right to speak on Take-Two because you've never played GTA 5. I'm not saying they should buy
I'm
it.
speaking on
I'm-
the finances of it.
Sure.
Well,
But-
what I
but
want to
there's-
do,
there's-
let me just let me
ahead.
just reel this back in because we do have two other people to
Yes, please,
to
please.
get to. I want to get Tempest Son because we got to get him out of here, and then
Yep.
and Wandering Dutch. I don't know how much more he can take with the migraine, but
True.
Tempest, you've heard everyone's opinions. It's safe to say that I think the consensus around this panel and many insiders like the Jeffrey Grubbs and many I've mentioned before have a whether it's a feeling, whether it's actual knowledge that they're just not sharing with us and they're not, they don't want to get themselves in any kind of trouble. It appears that Microsoft is setting themselves up for some monster acquisitions. Where do you fall in this conversation?
I think overall, well, I was going to go through what I feel they should do, but just on what was just talked about with Embracer Group.
What do you feel that they actually need to do to add to the 23? Because we had heard late last year that they were looking to get to at least 30. And if they do pick up these 7 studios that everyone has been mentioning, that would get them to the magic number.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think if you, even with their worst generation yet, the Xbox One, they spent that whole generation trying to play catch up and patch up their relationship with the gaming audience in general, right? During that time, they were still right. I'm not neck and neck. They weren't neck and neck with Sony, right? Their biggest competitor, but they were comparable in the United States. The United States is not an issue for them. They need to improve in everywhere else in the world, frankly. They need to become more of a worldwide brand for gaming than what they are. I feel like they need to do better in Europe. They need to have some form of identity in places like South Korea, Japan. Now they're making strides there, but for me personally, I would like to see them get a few more studios from, say, Europe that might have those types of sensibilities instead of just Playground Games or Rare. Get some more there. Do something in Europe because they're still getting slaughtered there as far as I know. When it comes to Sony versus Xbox over in that region, but they should pick up like a Smilegate from Software. They should pick up these things that would make them be forced into the conversation. Like, could you imagine if they got From Software? And I don't care how they did it. I don't care if they had to be kind of the bully.
That would be
in the moment.
That would be a mega deal. That would be earth shattering.
Earth-shattering, exactly. I mean, I don't want them to get Square because I think Square has so many hangups. But could you imagine, like, Square
they are so
currently,
past their prime, I can't begin to tell you.
Well, Square has so much baggage at the moment, but they still, to this day, like, where is Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox? Where is that? Where is Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox?
That's Sony's doing, I think.
Oh, it could be, but like, where is that stuff? I mean, they could go the Sega route. I think they're going to do that anyways. Eventually, I really do believe that. The Sega route would help. If they did that, lock down that Atlas. Lock down the Atlas games. You do that. Yeah, I mean, you might think it's a niche game, but you are going to
but you have a conversation in that region then.
Exactly. You're going to turn so many heads. You're going to force I said From Smilegate. Yeah, I'm biased right now because they make stuff like Lost Ark coming out, but over there, they are king in Korea, and Korea is huge for gaming. And I'm not just talking about consoles here. They buy it. Their games are going to be on Xbox-centric services over there. It's going to be Xbox, gaming or, PC gaming over there. And they can help move that stuff into the States.
Tempest, right now, South Korea, one of the that is one of the markets where Game Pass streaming is more prevalent than almost any other place.
Yeah,
built it,
correct,
and they work with the mobile carriers there to make it like shine brighter, and most people play there without a single console. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
So like Lost Ark, I was talking about that earlier. I know I'm Lost Ark guy, but it's literally not even just MMO. I think it's the second most played game in Korea, period, maybe third, but that's just game, period. Not even just MMOs. Imagine taking something like a Lost Ark and purchasing it and putting that puppy on xCloud streaming. You would dominate South Korea with as far as gaming goes. So they could make moves like that. I think that's what I need. They need to start filling more holes, right? Because right now they are the Western RPG studio, period. Nothing else comes
And
close.
the king of shooters.
And the king of shooters too. Yeah, there's many. I think what they need to do stateside yet, if they want to put the knife in the jugular, as far as I'm concerned, you get WB. You get NetherRealm Studios. You get quite a few studios that you could just put on whatever. They need family-friendly games, first-party family-friendly games. You get the forget what they're called, but the studio that makes all the Lego games.
TT Games.
TT Games, thank you.
Yeah.
So that takes care of that. Plus, you get stuff like Rocksteady and all the other developers, and they're going to have a killer year. Yeah, licensing is funny. Will they get exclusive to the Batman games and stuff? I don't know that, but they at this point already, Microsoft has so much IP and sought after like games. Everybody here would probably have a different game they would love for Microsoft to go in the bag and remake, right? Like your Banjos, Blinks. I mean, a ton of stuff that they could to go in and make. And right now, I feel like even though they have 23 studios and like 36 teams or something like that, it's not enough. That's where I think Embracer Group would come into play, something like that. If you just have that much manpower, then I feel you have the opportunity of putting your hand in that bag and just saying this IP would do well for today if it was redone and go from there. Because right now, like I said, they have enough of it that they almost couldn't possibly remake it all. And everybody wants new IPs, but for just as many people, as many new IPs as people want, everybody wants to see their old favorites redone in like a new light. And they have a lot, but quite frankly, they just don't have enough. I don't think, then you also have to factor in who's going to support these studios. Matt Booty, how much more can that guy take, And so that's where the buying a publisher, because I think Satya Nadella said it himself. They want to buy a publisher so they can say, hey, go do your thing.
Yep.
Essentially make us money, do what you've been doing, but now you're ours. Right. So I don't know. I think for me though, personally, and it's not just because I love the Asian culture or Japanese culture, or whatever. I just really do think they need a studio from pretty much everywhere. Right. And start making a game for all the cultures, and just, they need to become more of a worldwide brand to me. Because in America right now, I think they're taking over, period. But in America right now, I think they're fine. I don't think they have to do too much over here yet. They just need to become a brand worldwide. And I think that once they do that, it's done.
To your point, Tempest, I would love to see them acquire talent like up and coming studios from South Korea and India and Africa.
Yeah.
And a lot of these places. I don't know if they can like actually buy a Chinese studio just because laws and stuff. But for these other, like, especially with Unreal 5 coming out and the engines that they're going to be able to provide their in-house talent. Yeah. I would love to see them, because look at Raji, right? Like, imagine if that had like a AAA budget. The kind of lore and gameplay that you had there was really good. Amazing. So I'd love to see that from other cultures around the world, and more things like that. So and I think we're going to see that from Sony and Microsoft this year. Purchases that you never even heard of.
Right. And to your point there, do you know how many like prototypes of games I see online that just never see the light of day? They I don't know if it's a vertical slice or there's something that they're making that looks incredible. And then if I do see it, it's years down the road, right? There's so much talent out there making stuff that that's what I'm talking about. They need to get, like, I guess, stuff that you've never heard of, or just things in different places, because you never know who's going to make the next gem, So I mean, like totally unrelated. All right, guys are gonna laugh at me if you were in the pre-show, but like, the Arcane, I've never heard of the French studio that did that show for Netflix. But just like that, out of nowhere, one of the most impressive shows I've ever seen in my life came from a French animation studio. Never heard of them. Who would have thought something from League of Legends, a MOBA, would produce something like that? So you never know where the next
and the great trivia
from.
on that. The great trivia on that is it's funny that it's called Arcane because the head animator of that studio worked for Arcane Studios, Microsoft studio, and that's why it kind of has that Dishonored quality to it because the same people drew it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's my take.
Great take. And finally, let's get Wandering Dutch, and then we'll get everyone out of here. Dutch, how do you feel this year is going to pan out for acquisitions? Do you think Microsoft rules the day?
No, I see both. Major Tencent's going to continue. We all know that they'll continue to put their 2 cents in and purchase studios left, right, and center. Microsoft, we know they've been vocal about it. They're nowhere near done. And I think Sony would as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sony step up their relationship with FromSoft. Obviously they have more history with FromSoft than Xbox do, and I think even consecutively, I think that will continue going forwards. There will be more involvement. I would not be surprised to see some kind of continued exclusivity for things going forward, if not more advanced partnership with Sony and FromSoft. I'm not sure whether or not that will devolve into full acquisition, but I think there'll be more to it than that. To maybe to the detriment of Xbox fans, I want to see more FromSoft games on their consoles. I think that is like kind of like you say, probably like an Insomniac type of deal where we love the IPs that Insomniac create, but it's probably due to the relationship likely to be an acquisition for Sony at some point in the future, and I wouldn't put that past them. I also wouldn't kind of slight them for it either. It makes sense to them. They've had a very strong relationship. On Xbox's front, the 2 major studios that I think will potentially go over, I'm not really that fussed about any big acquisitions. I'm not really bothered about Take-Two. As great as the IPs have been for Rockstar and Red Dead and GTA, outside of those major titles, they've let other IPs flounder and not done anything with them and continue to do so. They've rested on their laurels and sat on the monies. But like Everborn also mentioned as well earlier, the monetary transaction for GTA versus what they're actually earning isn't as significant as people would believe. They might be worth 20 billion, but that's in assets. I mean, you take out the assets alone, the actual monetary turnover for that particular company isn't as great as it looks on paper, and Microsoft will look at that and say, we're not getting much for the money that we're purchasing for. We're paying out 20 billion, and the returns maybe about $1 billion a year if we're lucky. It isn't a great return of investment, and to actually get your 20 billion back, you would have to probably spend equal amount of money trying to reinvest that over the next 15 years. So the return of investment for Take-Two wouldn't be worthwhile. The best return of investment would be both Asobo and Crytek. Both of those have technological advancements, have real great potential, and really expanding what they can do as a company, and not just on a gaming front, but from a technological standpoint. The Cry engine is one of the second to none engines in the industry. I think they've just been extremely unlucky with some of the projects that they've attempted to do. Also, the support and the gamers' support for their titles as well. Outside of, we have a look at Rise: Son of Rome. That thing still holds up today.
It still looks fantastic, and the game's 8 years old.
That was the launch title for the Xbox One. And even then, it was stuck at an absurdly low resolution, and it still is, even on PC. It's like you're barely scratching 1080p on PC at max settings. An Xbox was like 900 or 720p or something, and it didn't really go past that. So even resolution aside, that game looks phenomenal. but they're renowned for having these really, really like edge pushing boundary kind of cards, and we seen that with, I think, was it Hunt Showdown? Isn't that Crytek game as well?
Yeah, Hunt Showdown, indeed. Yep.
That's really beautiful as well. That's a really good looking game.
And if you
and
recall,
again,
CryEngine is the only one that actually put ray tracing on an Xbox One X.
Yeah,
not Series X, One X.
One X, yeah.
X.
And
Yeah.
again, of course, when it first came out, they had their issues with that because there was a lot of
but
issues.
now it's clean. It's beautiful.
It's-
I played it recently, actually.
Yeah, clean, working, and they've managed to get it done. But they were always the type of developer and the type of studio to push things more than they should have pushed things to breaking point, and then said, right, okay, we've got it working. We now need it working better. And then polished it and polished it and polished it. And we've seen that. And again, the age-old adage of can it run Crysis still holds up to this day, because Crysis at full settings with all the bells and whistles is enough to push a lot of major PCs to an ion breaking point. And we've seen kind of the work that they do. And I think Microsoft will look at that. Microsoft and Xbox will look at what they do from a technological standpoint and say, right, this studio is capable of assisting our other studios and providing them with more options on development, but also from a technical standpoint, be able to give them a lot of knowledge when it comes to engine building, when it comes to resource management, when it comes to figuring things out or getting things running, whether that be on PC or console. Then we go over to Asobo and the work that they've done on both A Plague's Tale with their own engine, and going over to, which has to be praised in the first time, because that is just obscene, going in the first major title for a platform for Asobo with A Plague's Tale, and using your own engine, and being as beautiful as it was as well for your own engine. That was just insane. Then the work that they're doing to create one of the most eye-catching and technically brilliant things of the generation so far, and on PC, with again industry pushing visuals and shall we say expansive universe that is Flight Sim. Just the level of detail, the technical craftsmanship that went into getting that thing running on console, I think a lot of people overlook. They just say, oh, it's a Flight Sim, it's Flight Sim. And again, the fanboys, they look at it just from a pure gaming perspective. But if you have a look at that from a technical perspective,
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
on a home console is just obscene. The fact they got that done alongside, of course, the Xbox Game Studios team, that was just phenomenal. I think those two studios are an absolute match made in heaven for each other. I think specifically Crytek will really benefit from having stability. That's one thing that
Financial stability for sure. Yeah, that company's been
financial. I just mean support stability. I don't think they've had anybody really stand behind them and give them stability throughout their entire kind of history. If you look at kind of things that they've tried to do with Rise, Son of Rome, they've had partnerships with Xbox. With Crysis, they've tried to push the boats out on PC and then on console. Yeah. But no one company has stood behind them and said, yes, we're going to fully support these guys. And I think having the full support of a company to really let loose and do what they need to do and do what they can do with time and with monetary backing. The Crytek as a company will really be a force to reckon with again. I think they've had to be a little bit, even though they like to push the boundaries, they've had to be a little bit more conservative because they know they can't, as much as Hunt's done okay, it hasn't hit the strides of what they probably hoped that game would do for them after Crysis. And again, Rise, Son of Rome as well, as much as it's a, should we say, a fan favorite, it also didn't hit the levels that it should do. and what we all hope it should do. We all want a Rise 2, of course we do.
Yes.
We want to see more of that. But I think they would benefit massively from real backing and real support that's provided them by Microsoft, by having an actual ownership. likewise, I think Asobo maybe not so much would require it, but I think they would be like a nice little gem in the caps of Xbox and Microsoft, much like Ninja Theory.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I'd compare them
Much
to
like
Ninja Theory.
I think Asobo, they've really already shown what they're capable of with both A Plague Tale and with the work that they've done on Flight Sim. And I think it would be the right time really to just say, right, let's get this cemented. Let's get it in the books. You be one of us. Again, they've got the technical ability to provide support for every one of the studios at Xbox Game Studios Publishing, as well as Crytek. They've both got the technical know-how and the gaming pedigree to now really be the badge in the Xbox cap, should we say. I think they're the only two that I see as real gems that Microsoft need to pin down and quickly.
That's Sobo and Crytek, right?
Yeah.
Yep. For the tech specifically
for the tech, but also for what they can do. I think Asobo, their storytelling with Plague's Tale was just phenomenal. Like that's for people who haven't actually sat still and played through A Plague's Tale Innocence, and can't see why people who have played through said, well, that stands up hand in hand with the work that Naughty Dog did with The Last of Us. If you have played A Plague's Tale Innocence and can't say that is as good as the storytelling as The Last of Us, then you need to give your head
if you and this is why I'm excited for the next one. But there's still sort of a small team. But could you imagine the Plague's Tale level drama and storytelling with $150 million budget?
Yeah, it would be ridiculous. Well, listen, what I want to do is I want to
take one last thing, just so everybody knows about what we weren't joking about the Take-Two thing. So in 2021, their yearly revenue was $3,370 million, right? So 3.4 billion, 588 million in net income. So out of 3.4 billion, you got less than 600 million.
Not a good ratio.
And it's worse than that on the year before, and even worse than that on the year before. So they operate on fairly low margins, 16% profit margins, and Microsoft is used to a hell of a lot more than that. So just because they generate all that money doesn't mean they're getting all that profit. But anyway.
Look, regardless of whatever it's going to be a big year for Microsoft. I think the consensus of the panel is we have still over 200 people here. I want to thank everybody that hung around. We went into overtime. Obviously, there's normally a 2-hour show, but this was our first one back, and everyone had a lot of big opinions. We lost Mag because he had to go do something for work, and Tempest's son obviously had to go and do some family stuff. So we'll get them back for next week. But let's get to the outros. I'm going to start first with our very special guest, Crazy Lou Gaming. Thanks so much for hanging out for almost 2.5 hours on the first primetime gaming of 2022. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone where they could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, what else you got going on in the gaming podcasting world.
Well, first off, you guys can follow me at Twitter at Crazy Louie Gaming. And also you can follow me on YouTube at Crazy Louie Gaming, where we are going to start our very first episode of XBI, which is Xbox International, January 12th. It's coming up, guys, 7 p.m. ET. So yeah, guys, keep a lookout on Twitter. I'm going to keep on making those announcements where me, Sour Blow, Joanna Dark, and Brian Hawkins are going to do this show. It's going to be loads of fun, loads of laughter, and loads of talking about gaming. Another thing, guys, follow me also on Sour Blow Gaming. If you speak Spanish, we do a podcast over there, which is called Gaming Lobby. We're there Tuesdays at 7 p.m. ET also. And yeah, that's what you can find me, as I said, on Twitter. Follow me over there, and I'll keep making those announcements.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you so much for being here, brother. And we can't wait to see what you guys bring to the table on January 12th. Kay Asante, brother, you guys are back this Saturday for are you back
Actually,
this
might be
Saturday?
next Saturday.
Next
Might be
Saturday,
next.
okay.
Yeah, not the coming Saturday, but next Saturday, because we're still as they do in the Matrix. We're still working on some upgrades. So
Okay, all right, so very
yes,
good.
indeed.
But well,
Yes.
do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, what they could look forward to this year for the Gaming Circle podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, it's always great talking to you on Twitter, Crazy Lou. I appreciate you being here. It's always good
Thank
to
you,
get your
man.
opinions on stuff. It's real cool. I look forward to checking out the podcast. I love more international perspectives.
Yeah.
So you representing that is going to be great. I will definitely tune in and be checking that out. But thank you guys all for coming out and checking us out. It's fun to get back into the swing of this stuff with me and the PTG brethren and all that. You can find me TKO Asante, Twitter, Xbox, all the places that you think you can find me. I'll be there. We will be back on the Gaming Circle podcast, if not this week, the week after. And I will test out the new tagline that the Slanderous One put together. And actually, credit where credit's due. Your weekly fix for gaming, tech, and a little bit of slander.
I didn't say a little bit. I didn't say a little bit.
Well, I put the little bit because I need to keep it on low.
Okay.
I don't need the
You
slander to
can't
go overboard.
contain the slander, sir.
It is a show that is going to be viewed and listened to by children. So the slander has to be PG-13. But we working on that. But yes, we're trying to do some upgrades, upgrade the imagery, upgrade. We might even start doing audio only breakouts for those who like to consume their podcast that way. So working out all those logistics. So if not this week, most likely not this week. Most likely you will see us next week. And of course, we are also on the Reel, which is also going through its various stages of upgrades. And I will let Mr. Everborn Saga speak more about that. But you will see us around. I need to shout out to John Wolf, a great community member. He's been on on PTG before. He invited me to be a guest on his maiden voyage of podcasting. He's doing the Wolfpack podcast.
Nice.
And yeah, he and I had a very, very great hour and a half conversation yesterday. So if you haven't checked it out, please go ahead and support that man. Check out my Twitter. You'll see a retweet of what we discussed there. Just starting out, has a dream. You know how it is. We had a great conversation. The man's a natural, so go check him out. But thank you guys all for joining us, and of course, you'll see us next week.
All right, well, thank you so much for that. And of course, Everborn Saga, by all means, brother, sell your brand, talk about your podcast on Thursdays that talks about everything pop culture, including movies, film, and TV. And also, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yes. You can find me at Everborn Saga everywhere. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Oculus, which I'm trying to get back into.
Oh, yes.
Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, you name it. But most importantly, everbornsaga.com, where you can get a hold of these books. I just finished writing a new chapter of the saga over the weekend that felt really good. On the Reel will be back, but it won't be this week or next week. I'm trying to upgrade the equipment and sort of change around the show a little bit, so we're producing a little bit more evergreen topics, so that people, whenever you come to it, the videos won't be stale. So working out some logistics, getting some new equipment. It's on the way back, but you will still see me obviously here every week and on the Gaming Circle, which we've got some big things planned. There we are launching a new book this year, and I'll tell you more about that later, which will be a proper novel. In the Everborn Saga. So that will be that. And again, I just want to stand on my square. The next publisher that Microsoft will purchase will be Sega. Just for the record,
we shall see, my friend. Wandering Dutch, by all means, brother, talk about your brand. Tell everyone where they can check out your incredible podcast weekly, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Certainly, yeah. So we are back this Wednesday, obviously with the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. We finished the year last year with both a massive charity stream, of course, raising over £1,200. Massive thank you to Crazy Louie, who donated quite a substantial amount of that. And also, of course, donated games and everything as well towards hitting that target. So huge thank you to you, brother. Massive support there, so thank you. And obviously, that went down. Is probably still feeling the effects of that 24-hour stream now, to be honest. But it was an awesome time.
Crazy.
We had, of course, our previous final show of the year was AC, both ACG and King David, and we just start the year off nice and gently with our usual panel this time around. But looking forward to getting back and talking games again with them as well. Always a pleasure, of course, being on here. With these fine gentlemen, and of course podcasting with Crazy Louie for the first time as well, which is awesome.
Yes.
But yes, pleasure to be back. Looking forward to being back again next week and getting back into the swing of things as well.
Yes, well, listen, real quick before we get out of here, a couple of super chats to catch up on. Jerron TJ drops a $10 super chat and says, my favorite topic, Boom, they should get WB and Techland, Crystal Dynamics, IO Interactive, Avalanche Studios, Crytek, and possibly Embracer Group. Microsoft has $150 billion left to spend. Go crazy. We also have JR Pole drops a $2 super chat and says, acquisition of Sega renders the recent deal void. That's probably why it's going to take a couple of years to get there. We also have Sour Blow Gaming, good friend of the show. He drops a $5 super chat and says, I think Microsoft will buy some studios, maybe 3 to 5, and take some out of Matt Booty's division and form a new division in order to lighten the load. That's possible. Jamark Lewis drops a $2 super chat and says, $5 billion in the money is the money between the couch cushions. Indeed. X-Man, good friend of the show, he drops a $2 super chat and says, my secret steal here is Capcom. Yeah, maybe back in 2016, but not now. They're just making too much money. Splendiferous drops a $2 super chat and says Tencent might relocate if China continues to give them issues. That's possible. And that is it, folks. Listen, thank you so much for making the 2022 opener for Primetime Gaming a success. We had almost 300 people here. And of course, we are happy to entertain you each and every Monday. Hopefully you enjoyed today's program as much as I did and the rest of the panel. And of course, I'll close out with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And I think now more than ever, it's super relevant and important. He said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome night. So listen, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.